Nevertheless, I'll get all the platforms going so we can get the show on the road. So bear with me for a minute. All right. Wow. What a busy news day it has been. And I'll give folks a moment to begin filtering in as I get my devices on the proper Wi-Fi and the proper settings. But and also I believe TikTok should be flipped, mirrored. There we go. Okay, so we got a busy news day today, and it's the era of Trump. I don't think there is any such thing as an era of Trump where you don't have a busy news week. We're gonna be talking about the weekend. I'm titling it the news week, but for the most part, a lot of shit happened today. This was a very busy Friday. It is the conclusion of I think the Supreme Court is going to be recessed for a while. So they're not coming back to make major decisions until October. So they closed off with making a bunch of major decisions. And that's what has made this a very busy news day. Excuse my monitor for doing whatever it's doing here while the monitor comes up. But we'll talk about what we're coming to you with. First of all, the Supreme Court made a few rulings. Number one being they're making it easier to end birthright citizenship. So I think you know what birthright citizenship is. You know, if you are the child to parents that are not in this country legally, if they're not citizens. Now, let me just say this, because with the Trump administration, they're discussing being here legally versus illegally, but there's a whole lot of gray area that they are operating in. So while they're telling you if you are an illegal immigrant, your child should not be able to be a citizen by being born on U.S. soil, what if you're a green card holder? This is the gray area that I believe the Trump administration, just like they didn't campaign on a lot of things they're doing now, and they're operating in a gray area where they're going after a lot of folks that are not bad hombres, that are not gang members, that are not here illegally, but they're still going after them anyway. There's a large gray area in there that they don't talk about. So when we're talking about ending birthright citizenship, just like when we're talking about getting rid of illegal immigrants, people think of gang members and people that snuck in this country, jumped the wall, crossed over the Rio Grande. You don't think about all of the other gray areas that people are being deported for. Well, ending birthright citizenship is also likely to be similar, where a lot of gray area shit is going to happen that people are not anticipating. And that's what I'm bringing up to you right now. If you are here with residency, green card, in other words, if you have a green card, you're not officially a U.S. citizen. So let's say you do have a green card, you've been living in America for 10 years or something like that as a green card holder, or maybe you're seeking to get citizenship. Now, a lot of green card holders made the mistake before President Trump came along of thinking that as long as I got a green card, I'm safe to stay in America indefinitely. I have residency. Trump has proven that is false. Every president before him getting a green card was the gold status. You're good to go with a green card. Under Trump, that's not the case. If you don't have citizenship, you're not safe. So the problem is, let's say you have a green card, which means you have residency, but you're not a citizen. That means your child is being born to parents that are not citizens. They're being born to parents with residency. This is the gray area, because the Trump administration is leading folks to believe that birthright citizenship is all about anchor babies. You know, a woman comes to the country over the weekend knowing she's pregnant and about to give birth, and she's trying to give birth on U.S. soil to make sure her baby becomes a citizen. That's what people are thinking about. But as I just stated, it could apply to a whole host of folks that have been in this country for ages, that have a green card. Let's say you successfully scored a green card when your mom brought you here at the age of 10, and you've been happily living on that green card, and you're now 35. If you give birth, you're not a citizen of this country. So technically, and you know Trump is good at technicalities, technically your child is not entitled to citizenship status because you're not a citizen. So I just want to make that clear. We're going to talk about all that, but understand with Trump, don't exclude the gray areas. Right now, I'm going to give you my humble opinion on this, and you certainly will be entitled to chastise, criticize, compliment, disagree. You know how we run the program. We don't block, ban, or censor. But my analysis of this is Trump is operating with the goal of if there is a way you can deport somebody, deport them. I don't care what method you can use. If there is some kind of technicality available, something they did, some law that allows you to deport them, something you can use from the past, no matter how far back you need to go to find it. If there is a way to deport, deport. Now, I understand it started out with rapists, murderers, bad hombre. That's not what they're doing, folks. Those people can get it too. I think everybody wants a rapist or murderer deported, but they're going after people that are way outside of that envelope. Now, we're going to talk about something that literally qualifies with that. Before we start taking calls, I do want you to hear this just happened. There's a lot happened today, but this one here also just happened as well. This might be concerning to some liberals and certainly something MAGA is likely to apply.
As the Trump administration's Department of Homeland Security ending temporary protection status, that is TPS, for roughly 520,000 Haitians currently residing in the U.S. Taking a live look over the Capitol at this hour, as again, all of this information here is just coming in. The TPS designations for the country will officially expire August 3rd of 2025, and the termination will be effective on Tuesday, September 2nd of this year.
Okay, now I'll go ahead and give you the lowdown on that. TPS, temporary protected status, is what allowed Haitian migrants to stay in this country. Now, keep in mind, this is up to 500,000, 500,000 migrants are going to be affected by this. Now, you heard them say they have till September 2nd to get out of the country. So you can either self-deport or you can become an illegal immigrant as of September 2nd. The Trump administration says something that I actually find this to be hilarious if I can actually bring it up. I want you to hear why they are saying they got rid of temporary protected status for these Haitian migrants.
DHS spokesperson saying, quote, "This decision restores integrity in our immigration system and ensures that temporary protective status is actually temporary." Quote, "The environmental situation in Haiti has improved enough that it is safe for Haitian citizens to return home. We encourage..."
Now, you heard they're saying that they get rid of TPS status for these migrants who came here under the guise that their country was not safe. They had a civil war and all this going on. And they're saying that they've gotten rid of that and they can now go home because the situation in Haiti has improved to the point where it's safe to go back. Now, before I came on here, I did all sorts of, most of the stories I bring you, I try to do a little bit of research so I don't sound like a total fucking idiot. And I know my beloved MAGA are going to tell me I sound idiotic anyway. We like to do it that way. But I'll tell you right off the bat, Canada, America, Australia, and I say America, the U.S. State Department is what I'm talking about. All of them have websites that advise their citizens where it's safe to travel and where they should not go. America's U.S. State Department website lists Haiti as a level 4 do not go country. And they cite crime, kidnappings, carjackings, rapes as a reason you shouldn't be there. That's on the U.S. State Department's website. Canada has a website saying the same thing to its citizens. Australia and most of Western Europe is saying the same thing. Haiti is a do not go zone. So why is Trump suggesting that the country is safe enough for them to return home now? What is that based on? It's not even based on the U.S. State Department's own website. So I do want to ask that. We'll talk about that. We'll continue. But what's making them say Haiti is safe to return to? One thing that some folks, particularly my beloved MAGA, may like about this is, remember the whole eating pets in Springfield? This will likely make Springfield white again, because a large portion of that area are Haitian migrants that have TPS status, and they're working at companies there that claim they had jobs that they couldn't fill. So It'll make Springfield white again. But keep in mind, this is all about bad hombres and illegal immigrants. The Haitian migrants are not in any of those categories. They were here legally. They're not committing a bunch of crimes. They're not part of MS-13 or Trinidad or any other terrorist group. So understand when I say there's gray area that Trump is operating in, he's campaigning on getting rid of bad hombres and illegal immigrants. But most of the people that are getting taken out, or a large portion of them, are in that gray area that do not fall into those categories. So we'll talk about that. Before I start taking callers real quick, I do want to also ask about Pam Bondi was asked a question today, and this is a total shocker. I don't know if I got it queued up or not. We'll go with the program, and I'll go back to it. But she was essentially asked how she feels about ICE and immigration officials going around with masks on and detaining people and things like that. And she indicated that she has no knowledge that that's happening. I do have a clip of her testifying and say, or not testifying, but saying that. But the Trump administration, a leading official in the Trump administration, is trying to indicate she has no idea that ICE is going around detaining people wearing masks when they encounter folks. How could you not know that? Is there any ICE encounters even on the television or on the internet where they're not wearing masks? I think just about every encounter they show you, the people are wearing masks. But she's claiming she didn't know anything about it. I think I have it queued up here.
Welcome to the committee. General Body leadership at DHS has claimed that ICE and others carrying out immigration enforcement activities and support are covering their faces to protect themselves from being doxxed. And certainly I fully understand those concerns, and I appreciate those concerns, and I think they're real concerns. But I'm deeply concerned that the lack of identification during these activities is dangerous, both to the public as well as to the officers themselves. The public risks being harmed by individuals pretending to be immigration enforcement, which has already happened.
I'm trying to get to her part.
Senator Peters, that's the first time that issue has come to me about them cover. You're saying that law enforcement officers, when they cover their faces.
Right.
I do know they are being doxxed, as you said. They're being threatened. Their families are being threatened. You know,
I get that, but they have to identify themselves. There is an insignia oftentimes. They have to identify themselves as law enforcement. People think, here's a person coming up to me, not identified, covering themselves. They're kidnapping. They'll probably fight back. That endangers the officer as well. And that's a serious situation. People need to know that they're dealing with a federal law enforcement official.
Senator, I would be happy to look at that issue with you and talk to all of our partner law enforcement agencies. But I can assure you that if they're covering their faces now, it's to protect themselves. But they also want to protect all citizens. And that's something we can work together on to ensure the safety of.
Now, do you think she's going to do anything about that at all? Do you think anything positive is going to come out? You go ahead and go straight to the comment section. We can work together on that. Do you believe there is any sincerity in what she is saying at all? As she didn't know or was not aware that the police are wearing masks. Just literally lying to the face of the public. All right, looking in the comments, didn't one of those South Africans get arrested for murder? Really? Yes, I believe so. Yeah, that did happen. Yes, William, one of the South Africans that Elon brought up, I believe that is the case. Okay, well, ask yourself, why would Trump allow immigrants that are white to come to America, but he wants no black or brown immigrants in America? Wow. All right, let me go straight to the box, and that did happen. Wow, and pretend like she doesn't know they're wearing masks. Wow. And by the way, did anybody hear they're also defunding Planned Parenthood, which could lead to a nationwide abortion ban as well? Gangsta Grandma, good evening. Welcome to the program. Gangsta, how you doing?
Hi, Fluffy.
There's no fluff in the day.
I got fluff today, so I can't come back on after I roast your ass the first time. Because I know you'll be fluffy today. I know you have these damn maggots over here say, no, that's not racism. And you know damn well what your bald-headed ass, it's all about it's racism.
Okay, the folks listening are going to want to know, what are you suggesting that's racist? What is Trump doing that's racist?
Really?
I'm just asking.
I'm telling you, you bent over today, huh? That protein, does it taste good? Does it taste good, Tim?
You're the first caller. I ain't done nothing wrong.
I know, but I gotta get it out because I know you don't have protein on your lips today. I know. Because you have Maggot. What's his name? Maggot. The one that dipshit. The one that is a triple K. Then you have Jeremy on with his little $15 hour job saying, oh no, it's not racism. It's not racism.
Okay, what are you crying? You know, my viewers, my MAGA viewers are going to say you have victim mentality. What are you crying about racism?
Let me tell you about victim mentality, okay? I don't have victim mentality. Those motherfuckers got victim mentality. I want to make America white again when America never was white. You feel what I'm saying? Now, let me break this shit down. The ones that's on this thing that they're trying to kick the fuck out, the Mexicans, they are on this land way before, well, see, I'm mixed, so before black people and before the white man. You feel what I'm saying? The white man brought black people over, you know what I mean? And then natives are here. So where was the white at?
Yeah, but what you're saying is old, Gangsta Grandma. We've conquered the land. The Mexicans lost the land.
They did. So for one, they didn't conquer it. They stole it from the Mexicans because damn white courts, you know, aka United States courts, told them it was legit, and they gave them papers that they couldn't speak English, they spoke Spanish. I mean, you motherfuckers need to go get history 101. You feel what I'm saying? I swear to God. Because they want to white tea history out, but they want to tell you the real truth about the history. That's why the Haitians, they want to kick the Haitians out. They want to kick everybody out. That's not white tea. What's that Stephen Miller, whatever that motherfucker is? He even said it out loud. He wants America white.
So you believe the sole purpose of all this deportation is racism, basically?
No shit, Sherlock. And you know what? You be fluffing. Boy, that damn protein all up in your mouth. You be fluffing to them.
What did I say that's fluffing? I'm just merely asking a question.
Because you're going to give these maggots the opportunity to spill the stupid rhetoric what the white tea man was saying. You feel what I'm saying? I'm so sick of it. They're not kicking out the white tea people. They're not kicking them out. They're bringing them in and unalive the damn wife.
Of course, they're not kicking out white people against the grandma. There's not most of our. Let's be honest. Most of our immigrants in this country are not whites. They're either going to be Hispanic. Hold on, hang on.
No. You're not going to sit your black ass on here and say it's not the white man. Yes, it is. It's the Russians. It's the Italians that overstate their visas. Dipshit. See, that's why I'm telling your ass. That's why I go off on your damn black ass. Because you ain't no fluffing on your hands and your knees.
Okay, I'm going to say it again. Most of the folks that are here currently, that are here illegally or undocumented, they're not white.
No. They're coming from the damn white tea people, and they overstay their visas. You motherfuckers gonna look it up. It's the truth. They're just coming after the elite. They're coming after the undocumented because they can't fight back.
How many? Oh my God. Okay, you're trying to tell me that there is.
I swear to God, that's why I can't marry a man like you. I really can't.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. You're cute. You can do it. You can do it, baby. We can make this happen, baby. We can do this.
I know I couldn't marry a man like you. You fluffing too much. I need a man that got some damn balls. And if I have to be the woman that I think, and I have to have bigger balls than my man do, honey, I don't know. Honey, I cannot. Because I be hating you over here at the pot to pan and stuff. I shit you not. I cannot stand a pookie like you. I sure can't. Okay. I cannot.
Okay, here's the point.
I like you, though, Tim. I really do.
Thank you.
I like you, though.
Thank you.
But man, you're fluffing way too much, my God.
There's no fluffing. We just have a disagreement of opinion.
Because you over here say, well, the undocumented, there's more black and brown people that's undocumented. No. It's the white tea man. I mean, you know motherfuckers are getting active.
Wait. You believe the majority of our immigrants in this country that are undocumented are white?
They came on visas and did not leave. They overstayed.
When?
Oh my fucking.
You're going back to the 1920s?
I truly need to roll a blunt. I really do.
When did this happen?
Are you fucking sick? Oh my God. Lord God, please give me the wisdom not to choke this man out on live TV.
Okay, hold on. Let me tell you what I'm saying. If you want to talk about the Irish or the Polish and all them coming to the country back in the during the silent generation and all of that back in the 40s and 50s, you're right. But in current times, most of the immigrants in this country that are undocumented or that have come here illegally are, number one, Hispanic. There's a hell of a lot of Middle Easterners. There are some folks from Africa, some black folks.
Oh my God. Okay. You know what, Tim? You know what? Before you start talking on this shit, I advise you to please look this shit up. Please, 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 please. Because you look like a damn fool. You make us black people look like fools. Because, yeah, you be cupcaking to the white team, man. And watch, when I get off of here, you will have Jeremy, you will have the other little maggots on here, and what's that dipshit, that one that is a Proud Boy? All them over here say, yeah, yeah, yeah. You know what I mean?
Okay, so then let me play the whataboutism on you. If what you're saying is true, because we know, hold on, hang on.
It really is true.
Hold on, okay, listen. Let me actually get it out, and then you can shoot it down. If what you're saying is true, I'm playing the whataboutism, bro. We know that Obama's deportation numbers are higher than Trump's, at least for now. That means you're going to tell me that Obama, either he deported more white people, because you say there's more of them here, or Obama was playing racist and only going after minorities too.
No, he deported everybody, but he did it the right way. Oh my God. He gave them the due process. That's why we're fighting them. This is all about due process and stuff. We don't want the criminals here. We want them out. But they're not doing that. They're taking people out of schools and stuff and not giving them the due process. But yet they're leaving the white team man here. The overstay visas here.
But that's the point I'm trying to make. If what you're saying
and I'm telling you, it's oh my God.
I don't recall hearing that Obama was deporting a bunch of white people.
He was deporting everybody. Tim, everybody.
If he was,
oh my God, Tim, you're really fucking. You know what, Tim? You got a platform. You should be using it the right way. What you're doing is spilling misinformation, and what you're doing is giving the white team man more fucking power, and you don't even know what the fuck you're even talking about. When it's the white team man that's always saying the damn pieces, and if you don't look into it, I can't help you. You're uneducated.
No.
I'm fucking educated.
Listen, I made that.
You are. Why are you talking about shit if you don't even know what the fuck you're talking about?
I'm simply saying we went down to the border under Obama. We saw kids in cages and all. I don't recall hearing about a bunch of white people going through that.
They was. They just did it. Oh my God. He didn't do it cruel. He did not do it cruel. You feel what I say? He's doing it cruel. He's doing it fucked up right now. You know why? Because he's a racist piece of shit. That's why.
I'm not going to disagree with you on the cruelty. I agree with that part. I'm just simply saying.
I advise you to get on your new, your little iPad or whatever the fuck you got brand new, like you be bragging that you got, and get on it and see statistically who the fuck is on here that is in here illegally. And it's going to tell you, Ray, Pookie, that's going to be the white T-man, okay?
You've given me a homework assignment. I definitely, if what you're saying is true.
I advise you to. Hey, you know what you're gonna do? You know what you're gonna do? When you bring your tubby looking ass over here, back on here, you gonna say, "I'm sorry, gangster."
Well, you know
because I'm telling the truth. That's why I come hard on you. I wish I didn't have to come hard on you. I wish I could be feminine and say, "What's up, my Tim? What's up? What you doing?" With your bald-headed ass. I can't do that. I have to come out here and.
I'm not gonna hate on the woman coming hard on me, okay? All right, listen. Well, I'm just simply saying, if what you're saying, because when you mentioned the incest thing, I looked it up, and it turns out there's some accuracy to that.
Oh hell no! You're not gonna bring that shit up. I'm telling you, the maggots are deep into the incest, mofo. They be doing their cousins, their aunties, their grandmamas. That's why they all fucked up.
Okay, I don't believe all maggots are involved in that, but I did look up what you said, and I'll look up this. I'm not aware that a large portion of our illegal immigrants and undocumented residents are white to the point where it's competitive to the minorities that are here, like you're saying. I know there is.
Let me tell you something. If he was so not racist and every damn thing else, why is he not deporting them? Why is he not deporting them, huh? Tell me that. Why is he not deporting the white tea ones? Because he's not. You know why? Because he wants the white tea people here. Like he brought in South Africans. Why? Because of white tea.
Well, I have done some videos on white people being deported under Trump. You got people from Canada.
Oh my God!
I mean,
that's like a handful. Count them in the things. Count them on your hands, Pookie. But there's a lot more. They know exactly where they're at. And hell, but by law, I mean, his wife should be going bye-bye because she came on a visa that she has no clue what visa she was on. Hello.
I'm not going to argue. I'm not going to argue.
That ugly. Why is that ugly ass snot gone?
You think Melania Trump is ugly now? I'm not going to argue with you that.
Her coochie don't look good. And I see better looking than that. I seen it on Russian TV. Her coochie look like, oh my God.
You disrespect.
I would never go watch.
You're disrespecting the first lady. You're disrespecting the first lady. But I would.
don't care about God. Do you think I care? They disrespect Michelle Obama. They disrespect her, and she's a beautiful black woman. And I guarantee her coochie don't look like that. Tore up on the floor. I guarantee you that. I seen chocolate coochie. And chocolate coochie looks good and fire and every damn thing. Now I see some white tea one, honey. I cannot.
Okay.
Especially the maggots.
I can't speak on that. But if I'm more.
Oh, I'm sorry you're a virgin and you're not no freak. But honey, I seen both. You feel me? And honey, it don't look good. I promise you, if Trump got rid of everybody and Trump said there was only white tea maggots available, I'm celibate.
Let me ask you this: if you find out that Trump has deported plenty of white people as well, would you get off the racist thing?
Well, okay, yeah, right. He would never do that because he listens to all his minions, like Steven and that guy named Steven something. I forgot his damn last name. He even said it out loud, Tim, out loud.
Said what out loud?
He wants the country to be white. He don't want nobody that's black and brown here. He said it out loud.
Who said it?
Now, what's that, Tim? Not Tim, not you. Steven something.
Stephen Miller?
What are these people?
I haven't heard that. I would like to hear it if that's the case.
I know you haven't heard shit. If it comes to a white tea man, yes, master, that's what you is. Yes, master. Yes, master. I'll give him. I love my beloved maggots. The ones that'll put your ass in. Steve Miller. That damn Stephen Miller. That's him. Yes, he did. And you know what? You would kiss their ass. I promise you. You would kiss their ass until they put you in that damn tree.
Why do you suggest that MAGA would put me in a tree? You do realize that all MAGA...
Do you think they like you? Do you think they like your ass? Do you really do? Do you think they really like you? When they doing everything to get you out of this damn country? Do you really?
Gangsta Grandma,
Do you really?
Gangsta Grandma, you're not MAGA. Do you sound like you like me?
Well, you know what, Tim? I do like you.
Thank you.
I will have a drink with you. But unfortunately, I cannot stand sometimes of you. I'll have to hit you on the head sometimes. That's why I say I can't marry a man like you. Your ass is fluffing too damn much. Fluffing. I can't. I need a man with some balls. You feel what I'm saying? They'll say, yo, maggots, you ain't going there with us. God, hell no. See, if I have to be the one with the balls and the thing and have to wear the pants, hell no, I don't. I can't be him around you.
Do you believe MAGA should even be allowed to speak the way you talk?
Maggots speak worse than I do. Why do you think I come hard on them? Why do you think I throw everything at them? Why do you think that? Because they are the scum of the earth. They are the despicables. You feel what I'm saying? They're despicable.
MAGA is not scum. They just have a different opinion than you.
What the fuck?
Is that not true?
Oh, hell no. I really got to roll a blunt with you. After I get done with you, I got to roll a blunt.
Why are you saying MAGA is scum? What is that based on?
Really?
I'm asking.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Are you serious? Tim,
I'm going by what you just stated. You said MAGA scum. What is that based on?
They voted a rate of... they voted Triple K in office. They're taking history out of books. They're telling people they're putting segregation back in the workforce, the federal workforce. And you don't think that's how scummy? then put your ugly ass in the damn tree. Thinking, yes, I gotta listen. You know what I mean?
Why do you keep? I'm just curious. Why do you keep suggesting that MAGA's violent and want to put me in a tree? What's making you say that? Do you have any cases out there at all where MAGA has put somebody in a tree?
Are you fucking shit?
I'm asking.
They're the ones that shoot up. They're the ones that pew up our schools. They're the ones that go into black churches and shoot them up. You don't think they don't want you? You don't think they won't do that to you?
I don't see.
Are you shitting me? January 6th. That's the big one.
Trump has been president.
Oh my God.
Hold on. Trump has been.
I swear to God. You know what? Tim? I promise you. See, I have to. When I get off here, I gotta roll up a blunt. I gotta go to a meeting, and I really gotta calm my damn nerves because I will go off with some innocent white tea people today because I cannot stand fluffing ass black men that would give the maggots the opportunity to spill their hate. Oh no, they won't put me in a tree. Well, what makes you so special?
Okay.
What makes Joe?
I'm just Gangster Grandma. I'll go ahead and move on, but I'll just say this: Trump has been president now Trump has been president. Well, you the one said you got an appointment, but Trump has been president now for 4 years and 5 months, and there's no evidence of him putting people in trees like you're suggesting. So,
oh my God, you know what? They're going to defund the damn popos now. They're going to do that. He just gave them immunity. Okay, he told them his last term to when they don't listen to the popos, knock them in the head and stuff. When you put them in the car and stuff, what are you talking about?
He said that, but there is no evidence of him doing any of the violent things that you suggested.
You are like a true maggot. You truly are. And I feel bad for you. And if you're not married, if you're married, I feel bad for your fucking wife. She probably the one that's joined the past in the house. I cannot. That's why, Tim, I cannot deal with a man like you. I need a man with some damn balls. Because a man like you, I'll be going to fucking prison forever for like knocking you guys in the head a couple of times, putting some sense into you guys, putting some, I don't know what the fuck it's called anymore. Because I cannot with you, Tim. I swear I cannot.
All right, Gangster Grandma.
I have to go because I gotta go too. And I feel so sorry for these damn white people. I gotta go roll me a blunt. But you have to, Tim. You truly have to go look this shit up. I'm not lying about the white tea people staying here. I'm not lying about that. Nope, okay. Nope, I'm not.
All right, we'll talk about it with the audience. Gangster Grandma, as always. Thank you for coming through. She doesn't make it easy on me. Apparently, my testicles are a little bit smaller than she would desire. By the way, tap the screen. Get the likes on up to about 20,000. For you, some of you folks, I don't normally ask this, but apparently it has an effect on the algorithm. Share the live. I don't normally say that, but share the live. By the way, tap the screen. Get us on up to about 15,000. You know how the program is ran. We do not block, ban, or censor any damn body. We are MAGA friendly. Nevertheless, liberals are welcome on the program as well. This is an uncensored format. As you may have just noticed with my last caller, we don't block, ban, or censor any damn body. So when we say we go left of Bernie Sanders to I'm having dinner with Q, we mean it. So if you enjoy uncensored dialogue in this fashion, feel free, if you're watching right now on Clapper or TikTok, give your boy a follow. And if you're watching on YouTube, hook me up with a sub. We're generally here on the weekday. Looking in the comment, definition of batshit crazy, says Fisheye Paint Works. I'm assuming you're talking about my last caller. Then again, you could be talking about me. Grandma had your likes go down. Well, listen, I appreciate the likes, no doubt about it. I appreciate you folks that are, giving your boy subs and giving me likes and things like that. But I'm not going to censor free speech to get likes. If I got MAGA on here and they hate every damn body in existence, you get to speak. That's what zero censorship is about. So yeah, she leans left. She's critical of MAGA. She's going to have some folks get pissed off and turn the program off. But when I have MAGA on, that same sentiment applies to liberals. Some of you folks prefer to be in what I refer to as echo chambers, where everybody agrees with you. Maybe you want to be in an environment where everybody's bashing Trump, or an environment where everybody's wearing a red hat and talking about libtards. That's not what we do here. You're going to hear every damn thing. So if this isn't that type of, if this isn't the kind of environment you're comfortable with, While I appreciate your support, I will advise you to scroll on. There are places to go where people only sound like you. This just ain't it. Looking in the comments real quick though. Granny will straighten you out. Yeah, she definitely. She had a lot to say. Somebody actually sent me a super chat, but I cannot bring up what they said. I don't know who it is. Stupid is as stupid does. Somebody said Trump is. I didn't see what Trump is. Trump is suing media companies who spread fake news, yet doesn't sue Fox News. You know, before I go to the next caller, I will say this. Because a lot of MAGA favorite Trump suing CNN and suing MSNBC and, you know, news networks they consider to be fake news. Right off the bat, the viewer was right. You don't sue Fox News because they're saying fake things that are in your favor. But keep in mind, Truth Social is a media outlet. Trump owns Truth Social, and it has millions of followers. If Trump gets on Truth Social and says something that's not true, that's fake media. Now, I know a lot of folks on the right don't view it that way, but Trump owns a media outlet, just like Elon owns X. That is media, social media. So every time Trump gets on Truth Social and says something ridiculous or something that may not be true, he's no better than CNN. You're just giving him a pass for doing it. And look, let's just be clear. Trump has said a lot of things that are not true. A lot of things that are not true. It's just that if you favor Trump, well, he's just exaggerating. You're taking it out of context. But when CNN says that you want to hold him to the fire for it. But Trump says a lot of things that are not true as well. Looking in the comments, though, real quick. These people hate Trump based off of gossip and what Taylor Swift says. It's crazy. I'm sure she likes Trump's stimmy checks. Well, I think that's now, we all like Trump stimmy checks, but I will say this. The idea that people only hate Trump because the media is telling them to is really short-sighted. You're just not listening to what Trump says. Trump says a bunch of hateful shit to people all the time. They hate him for what's coming out of his mouth. Got nothing to do with the damn media. I mean, did you see his Thanksgiving, Christmas, Memorial Day greetings? Did you see what he said on Juneteenth? That ain't got shit to do with the media. That came out of his mouth. He says a bunch of hateful stuff. All right, let me go back to the box. Somebody said I'm lagging on TikTok, so I'll see if I can switch over to Cell and see if that does any better. Let me know on TikTok if the lagging. Oh, well, somebody said not lagging. All right, we'll see what happens. If I'm lagging, I'll switch back. Okay, I am disappointed in Trump, but I support President Trump, says Bobby Covina. But, well, if you're disappointed with Trump, but you still support him, you're starting to sound a lot like Candace Owens, because she says she is now embarrassed. She told people to vote for him. So Candace Owens, and she referred to him as a chronic disappointment. So you sound kind of like Candace Owens with that. Stick Darula. Good evening, Stick. Welcome to the program. MAGA equals my ass got abandoned. Damn.
Hey, how you doing, Tim?
What up, Stick? So we're talking about.
How you doing, man?
Okay, let me. Can you hear me? Okay, apparently.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, I'm gonna switch it back over to Wi-Fi. Something's happening here.
You're going in and out.
Yeah, I don't know what.
You are going in and out, though.
Okay, let me see here. All right, let me know if it clears up. I wanted to ask you. Now, you heard Gangsta Grandma, correct?
Yeah, I heard Gangsta Grandma.
Do you think she is accurate in stating that we have more undocumented and illegal immigrants in this country that are white than Hispanic or other races? Do you believe that what she said is true?
Well, not really, but I would say that only because the media don't show that. So I only can know and or understand what I see. So what I see and what the media is feeding everybody is that there was an overwhelming caravan headed this way, and even after the caravan got here, more was coming behind that, and on and on and on.
Okay.
They never show the people who got caught for overstaying their visa. They never talk about those folks. They never talk about the northern border. They never talk about anything white tea.
Yeah, but make no mistake about it. Obama Biden and Kamala Harris had assets, you don't hear them going around saying what she is saying. If there were more whites that are here illegally, wouldn't Kamala Harris or Biden or Obama be saying that?
Well, let me make you understand something, Tim. Trump was a Democrat at first, right?
Right. Back in the 80s.
But because he said crazy and stupid shit, he was suppressed. They get your ass up out of here.
You think
Yeah,
so?
nah. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't so much get your ass up out of here in the sense of you can't be a Democrat, but it was damn sure your ass can't run for office. Not on this side.
I don't know. What was he saying crazy back? What was he saying crazy back then, though?
Well, a lot of stuff was really like one-sided. Let's just say the Central Park kids.
Yeah.
Like no
Central Park
Democrat is
Five.
thinking off the ripple they're guilty, and let's go on ahead and give them the zip the electric chair. No, we're not thinking like that. And how dare you come out and say that? And the Democrat Party has a sense of they will set somebody that says dumbass shit up. For instance,
Wait a minute. Do you think the Democrat Party would get rid of a candidate simply because of what happened with the Central Park Five? If you call for the unaliving or the incarceration of 5 juveniles for a crime that they allegedly didn't do, or they officially didn't do. But you think the Democrat Party, that would be enough for the Democrat Party to get rid of you?
All I'm saying is, he said probably way more dumb shit than that, and then he's saying it around other rich people / the upper echelon, and we don't get privy to this. Like, for instance, when he was the president the other time, and the general told you what he said about the veterans, what did they get out of it? They're suckers and losers and all this other stuff. But nobody believes that. But I ain't gonna say nobody believes it. Most of the left definitely believes it. But the right, anything that he says, it doesn't matter how weird, off, slow, whatever words you want to use, they don't care. So I'm understanding MAGA doesn't care, so I'm moving as if it's not so much I don't care that they held stuff about Joe Biden away from us, about his health.
Right.
But then at the same time, being that I'm on the left, I understand and know that everybody, especially when it comes to your health, don't need to know.
Yeah, but
I
get all of that, but how do you feel, and before you answer this, and I'm going to say, how do you feel about Kamala Harris running if she knew his cognitive health was in decline and was lying to the American people? But before you answer that question, Darth of Valgus on YouTube says, one bad apple spoils another. They all regret and ran down on it. It is what it is. I don't quite get what you're saying there, Darth. You say, I understand the one bad apple.
What he's trying to say is basically what I was saying. Like, we already know that if you spark one flame, this person sparks one flame, it can start a fire. And that's what Donald Trump did, but he did it on the Republican side for the people who believe in dumb stuff. They believe that the ex-president's son, John F. Kennedy Jr., was going to come back. They really believe that.
That's why I always say I go left to Bernie Sanders till I'm having dinner with Q. I got to say, I don't honestly know why some, because all MAGA don't believe this shit, but I don't know why some MAGA believe some of those really wacky conspiracy theories, like Nancy Pelosi was going to be arrested and Biden and Trump was going to be the 17th president of the corporation. I don't know why they believe that stuff. I just don't know, but they do believe that stuff.
So not only that, I'm getting on the Democrat Party right now. Oh, who else used to be a Democrat that's out there? What didn't he used to be a Democrat?
Who?
Mr. Senator, I don't think anybody should take medical advice from me.
Oh, you talking about Kennedy? Well, Kennedy. I mean, well, was he really?
No. Let's keep it real. He was gonna try to run, but the Democrats shut his ass up because he was saying dumb shit.
Yeah.
Man, and this is the thing. I would love for MAGA just to keep it real. I talk to MAGA all the time. Especially, I got a friend on this app. His name is Duke. He's MAGA. He believes all of this crazy stuff. He was in the military. He's a veteran and all.
You said Duke?
But the whole thing of it is, yeah.
I'm aware of that. I've talked to Duke. Yeah, Duke. Yeah, he leads right.
And just the other day, we were talking about how Israel went out of their way and told everybody we're gonna strike because we don't want them to have nuclear weapons. Trump came out and told everybody we don't have nothing to do with it. Don't retaliate. Don't come at us. We don't have nothing to do with it. Then when the strike happens and basically Israel crippled their defenses
You start saying
and their
we.
air superiority,
You start saying
he
we.
came out and said we did a good job.
Well, I'll give you credit for what you said earlier, and it's kind of falls in line with the middle of Fifth Avenue. I mean, the MAGA side of the aisle believes the America that Trump is offering is so outstanding that they're willing to overlook stuff like that. But you're right that Trump tried to make it sound like we had nothing to do with the attacks and all that. And then when Israel was so successful, all of his tweets or his Truth Social posts were about how we control the skies over there and how we destroy. I mean, yeah, he's not always honest. And that, oddly enough, because I had a viewer earlier talking about Trump is suing the media for lying. Trump is not always honest, but I don't think that matters with MAGA.
Yeah, and then Pete Hegseth gets up there and says, one reporter is you. It's how you report. You're the reason why people are thinking this. And then why would you go against the United States military and, they did an awesome job and blah, 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 blah. That's not what she said. She didn't say they didn't do an awesome job because they did execute it perfectly. What she said was, y'all shouldn't have gave out that information on how much damage was done if you didn't know.
Yeah.
What's so hard to receive from that? And even, like I said, even mentioning Duke's name. Look, bro, what's so hard to admit they shouldn't have gave out that information until they knew for sure what they had, and then people
I made a video about that. I agree with you 100%. Trump claims that it was wrong for CNN to quickly go out there and say that we didn't damage their nuclear facilities to the extent that we originally thought, but because he says nobody was on the ground and all that. But you're right to point out that Trump got on social media within a couple hours after the bombing and suggested that the facilities had been obliterated, and he didn't have anybody on the ground there either. I mean, his information was just him. Just like when he stated that COVID would be gone by April, like you don't have any information to base it. I mean, he said COVID, and I see in the comments somebody even asked that question. Like somebody said, "What lie did Trump tell?" I mean, like I said, him saying that COVID would be gone by April, that wasn't based on anything. Trump just likes to give a positive overview to make his administration look good. It's not always true, but he'll just say what sounds positive to rally the troops.
And again, Tim, I would say to MAGA, if you don't want to talk about something or you're tired of a subject, stop bringing it up. The first subject that they're tired of is LGBTQ, but they're the first ones to bring it up. They're the first ones to say, you Democrats, you believe in this and what's a woman and all of this other stuff. When we're talking about policy, and see, that's the whole problem. Democrats are so worried about everybody. We're worried about everybody, Tim. This is our problem. Just being honest. We're worried about everybody. Liberals, progressives, we're worried about everybody.
How do you get past
they're focused on their one group. Yeah, they're focused on their one group, which is the sentiment of the white man. Yeah. Sorry, this is what it is. He came out, he said it, and if you look at it with DEI, with the Supreme Court and affirmative action, now with the Haitians and their protective status, like we see it. We already seen the brown people. That's in our face. That's undeniable.
So you see Trump just like Gangsta Grandma. You believe he's a racist.
But it's undeniable, Tim. Anybody that can't see it, especially if you're black, you know what? I ain't even gonna say it.
I hear you. Real quick in the comments before you continue on, the handsome conservative, love that name every time, says, so what you're saying is Trump is just like every other politician, dishonest. That's the thing, though, conservative, is that Trump was supposed to not be a typical politician. He was not supposed to be an insider. But now all of a sudden when he starts fucking up, well, you know, they all kind of do that. That was not what he was supposed to be. Go ahead.
Well, my parents always told me 2 wrongs don't make a right. So if you came in speaking all that good shit, then keep doing that good shit. Don't turn around and become that no good businessman, because we see how the economy's going. We see how you're doing with the tariffs. We see how you can't play with no damn body. You the child that gets sent home from daycare. Trump is. He probably didn't have to leave to go to the Situation Room when he was at the G7. They probably kicked his ass out, and that's what he told everybody.
I'm going to assume you might not like Trump.
You're going to assume that hell nah, I don't like Trump. Put a hell on that mug.
Well, I mean, now he apparently today he was able to organize a ceasefire between Rwanda and the Congo. Do you give him credit for that?
Man, that man ain't do nothing, man. That man ain't do nothing, man. Just like he didn't do nothing with was it Iran and Israel or
they're not fighting.
He said he had something to do with Kosovo.
Yeah, okay, he got that one wrong, but
come on, Tim, come on.
He's not perfect, but he did suggest.
No. He's not here, bro. He's somewhere else living on a green desert island, and he ain't got nobody to back him up in the sense of himself. He's checked out a long time ago, and it's all in his interviews. It's all in his comments. The other day, he was talking about something that had nothing to do with what he was there for. And it was so bad, I can't even tell you what it was, Tim. Like, it was so pea-brained, and I can't believe...
You're making it sound like he's having a Biden moment.
No, it's worse than Biden. It's worse than Biden.
Okay, but you're not giving him credit. You're not giving him credit for things that apparently he actually did, such as, like I said, he did organize a ceasefire in Rwanda. Until we see otherwise, it looks like he did that. He's still taking credit for credit for India and Pakistan, Israel and Iran. I mean, it sounds like he's working on the Nobel Peace Prize.
You know what? I could have swore they came out, Pakistan and the other one said that Trump didn't have nothing to do with it. I could have swore they came out and said that off the rip. They said when he tried to take credit for it, they came out and said, "Man, he didn't talk to us. He ain't got nothing to do with that. We came out with their own. We came out with their own peace treaty or ceasefire or whatever." And everybody's gonna have to do that because they don't respect Trump. That's why he was so mad. That's why he dropped the F-bomb. Because ain't nobody listening to him. He's not a peacemaker. He's not.
Oh,
he's a World War III starter, and that's what's going on.
Oh, all right. I got to move it on, Stick. That's frightening, though. A World War III starter. Isn't that what he told Zelensky? I got to move it on, though.
Hey, when you got everybody teaming up with Iran, I heard that China's getting involved, and they're gonna give them some stuff. I heard that Russia's gonna give them some stuff. Like they already stacking the deck. North Korea. They're going to get involved.
Let's see how that goes before we start chastising Trump with it. Stick, thanks for coming through. All right, real quick, moving on. Darth Vault. I want to say Vader each time, but it says Valgus says it seems that the attack on Iran's nuclear plants didn't do anything. It's like they're brushing the dirt off their shoulders. I tend to agree with that. Now, Trump is adamantly saying otherwise. Now, we're talking... with a half a dozen 30,000-pound bunker buster bombs. It is hard to imagine they would drop a bunch of those on top of each other and it would not do any damage. But there's no shortage of folks in leaks and things coming out that are suggesting that the damage to Iran's nuclear ambitions is not as bad as Trump suggested. What should have happened, and this is where Trump running his mouth is causing his administration problems, he should have simply suggested what we done, suggested that the mission went according to plan, because the pilots did what they were told to do. But he should have said, preliminary reports suggest that the ordinances were placed on target. All of this obliterated shit is what he should not have said. Certainly only a couple hours after the conclusion of the mission, he should not be on TV talking about shit has been obliterated. He don't have any evidence of that. The sun had not even risen in Iran when he said that, so you don't have any satellite images to go by or anything. Even if you happen to be fortunate enough to have special forces on the ground or something like that, they're not able to go into the tunnel and do any analysis that soon. Also, it does beg to reason, and I'll go to the next caller after this, but it does beg to reason. They're bragging, the Trump administration is bragging, well, we didn't kill anybody. How could you destroy their nuclear facilities successfully without taking any lives? If nobody is in that plant at the time you launched all these strikes, that means they kind of felt confident the strike was coming. If they felt confident the strike is coming, why would it be so hard to believe? They probably took some valuables out of them. If you didn't take any lives, I mean, do we have facilities that nobody is manning? No, if you literally dropped all of this ordinance on Iran and you didn't take anybody's lives, that means the places were not manned at the time. And the only way they would not be manned is as okay, I'm having a Biden moment. The only way they would not be manned would be that they anticipated you might be coming ahead of time. And if they anticipated you were coming ahead of time, then they gonna move shit they care about away from those facilities. So it is very likely, when you see the satellite photos of about a good dozen trucks or more at that facility, very likely they took some shit with them. Now, the Trump administration is stating those were dump trucks full of cement that they were using to try to cover the opening so the bunker buster bombs wouldn't work. I don't buy that. I think Trump is trying to have a little bit of locker room talk. If they're smart enough to know not to be there, they're smart enough to know we need to take some of these valuables with us. That just makes sense. Looking in the comments, want to save lives? Stop people from climbing mountains. I can think of several reasons everything could be interpreted from. Yeah. Going back to the box. Chris, welcome to the program. Good evening. If it lets me bring you up there. Thanks for holding, Chris. Good evening.
Tim,
Hey.
I got you. What is the subject today?
Well, first of all, we were mentioning earlier, Trump has ended temporary protected status for as many as 500,000 Haitians in this country. That means they got up to September 2nd. They have to either self-deport by September 2nd, or they will become illegal immigrants. And we already know how the U.S. government views illegal immigrants. Do you think that was a good move?
Okay, why Haitians and not Europeans? I'm gonna answer. Okay, can we go there?
Explain.
Why Haitians only? How are you gonna pick Haitians and then you got all these Europeans over here illegally?
What Europeans are here under temporary protected status?
What Haitians are here under those status?
I'm
gonna push back.
Most of the ones in Springfield that he claimed were eating pets are there under TPS status.
Right, and he've not proved anything about Haitians eating cats, right? I mean, are we that stupid? Are Americans that stupid to believe everything he say?
I don't think we're that stupid. I think that we're that much in love with Trump. A large portion of this population likes Trump. I don't think it matters if he's honest or not. They like Trump.
And that is the problem. Americans believe anything they hear. That's an issue. That is an issue in itself, don't you think?
Yeah.
If your citizens are that stupid to believe anything this guy say, when it's proven to be wrong, but you yet still believe it.
I don't agree that they believe all of this stuff. I think in some cases, like when they say, pay attention to what he does, not what he says. I don't think that even MAGA believes everything Trump says. I think they just don't care. They just believe his vision for America is far better than anything any liberal could dream up. So they don't care what he says.
So what do that say about your country? What do that say about your people? Think about what you just said. What do that say about your people?
It says
America is not the only country on earth. is, what is it? Not even 10% of the population.
Right. Well, it says they're willing to overlook a few things.
Right. So what do that say about your people? Should you be trusted?
I mean,
should other countries trust you?
Well, Chris, let's be honest. Trump isn't the first president to lie. I mean, we didn't. I mean, we reelected liars in the past. I mean, weapons of mass destruction. I didn't have sex with that woman. We reelected them.
Okay, I'm gonna push back.
Sure.
Okay, so what about the 1941 Japan bombing? It wasn't even a state. It wasn't a state. Hawaii was not a state, and USA attacked Japan. How do you feel about that?
Well, you're killing American citizens, whether it's a state at the time or not. Just like if a bunch of Americans were in Greenland, which we do have U.S. soldiers in Greenland, if somebody comes and bombs U.S. bases in Greenland, we're going to view that as an act of war.
So you agree with that?
Yeah, I agree that the bombing of Japan, the bombing of Hawaii in 1941 by the Japanese Empire, I agree that was an act of war. Yes.
And in fact, then you go back and you bomb innocent civilians, and you agree with that. You didn't target a base. You target civilians. Think about.
Well, you're talking about, yeah, but Chris, you're talking about World War II. The technology was not as accurate back then.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, they probably saved lives because it was boots on the ground. A lot of Americans probably have lost their lives. A lot of Japanese citizens and veterans probably lost their lives. I get that. But do you agree that it was the right thing to do?
No, I'm not a fan of striking innocent civilians during any war. No, but I mean, at the same time, I know what happens. No, I don't pretend like what America does is okay when I know I would be critical of it if somebody else did it. Like the bombing of Dresden in World War II. It was a city that had little to no military value, and we just destroyed and firebombed the city and killed a bunch of people. No, I don't agree with that. I mean, that would have been a war crime, by the way, if we had lost World War II. So, no, I don't always agree with what we do.
So USA basically have a history of bullying other countries, and now we can agree on that.
Yeah.
Let's say starting back in after World War One, because really they wasn't involved.
Damn, you're going way back.
Cowards. They were a bunch of cowards. But in World War II, they stepped the game up because Japan, put the pressure on them.
I don't think we began the bullying of other countries. Probably, I mean, obviously Korea, we could talk about it, but probably the Vietnam War is where we really started trying to tell other countries what to do.
All that's after World War II, though.
Right.
So I'm talking about before World War One. What's significant about USA before World War I
don't get what's your point? What point are you trying to make? You're going way back.
The power they have, as far as bombs and all this stuff.
We were not that mighty of a country back in 1918 during World War One.
Exactly. They were. You know why? They were cowards.
I don't know if it was cowards. I think that we just didn't put, like, now we spend a ton of our money to defense budgets. We spend more money on military than any other country on earth. I mean, to the point where we don't even take care of our citizens because we're too busy trying to hype up our military. We weren't doing that during the World War One.
Exactly, and that's why I'm trying to.
And I want to dispute the notion that the U.S. was cowards in World War One. I mean, I'm going to tell you, there may be more cowards in the military now than back then. We just happen to have superior technology. It doesn't take a lot of bravado to be sitting in an air-conditioned trailer in Nevada droning shit in the Middle East. You don't need a lot of bravado to do that.
Right, and they were cowards in World War One. You're right, they were cowards because they didn't get involved until they had to. Same as World War II.
I don't buy that. I mean, anybody serving and putting their lives on the line is not a coward. I wouldn't want to do it. I'm not going to call them a coward, man. I think that's really disrespectful.
Well, I mean,
That's your opinion.
Okay.
That's your opinion.
All
As
right.
a whole, Tim. I'm saying as a whole, the United States was cowards, and that's why they wasn't involved till later in World War II, and practically not at all in World War One.
You're calling them cowards, yet they're winning wars. How is
They're winning, Tim? They're winning wars now because they invested all of our into defense.
they won the wars back then too. We were on the winning side in both of those wars. You're claiming we're cowards, but we're winning wars. That doesn't make any sense.
You winning what type of wars?
The ones you're mentioning, the wars you're mentioning, World War One and Two, we were on the winning side of those wars. So why are you saying we're cowards?
No, you wasn't on the winning side of World War II. Russia, USSR won World War II. Do you know where it ended? They didn't beat Japan. USA did not beat Japan. Japan was in China when they got defeated by Russia.
What? You never heard of the battle? You never heard of Iwo Jima? The battle of hold on. You never heard of you never heard of hold on, hang on. You never heard of Iwo Jima? Russia didn't have nothing to do with that. The Battle of Midway, Russia didn't have nothing to do with that. We had all kinds of victories in World War II that Russia had nothing to do with. What are you talking about?
Without Russia, Japan would still be running China and probably USA. USA did not beat Japan.
I don't know any.
And, you know, if you research, you'll see the war ended weeks after the bomb on Hiroshima.
So why didn't the Japanese surrender to the Russians? They surrendered to us.
It was over 1 million Japanese
That didn't answer my question.
China fighting the war.
Why did the Japanese surrender to the Russians? They surrendered to us. Why is that?
Because they wasn't cowards. They was fighting to the end.
How does that make sense? They surrendered, so they're the brave ones. We won, so we're the cowards.
Yeah, basically, yeah. Why didn't USA go into China and fight the Japanese?
I don't know.
Why they didn't put boots on the ground? If they so brave, put boots on the ground, go into China and get rid of 1.5 million Japanese soldiers. Because they cowards.
Okay.
Because they were cowards.
Do you?
All they can do is
I'm going to ask you a question that normally would come from a conservative, but I'll ask you: do you like the country you live in?
Sure.
You don't
But
sound
it's
like
changing. I mean, sure, it's changing though. What I'm saying is changing from say 19. Let's go back to 1940 before the war. You go to 1930. You got the everybody was starving to death. Okay, you got depression, and then before that, you had alcohol was illegal. You know, you got hustlers getting paid, and then you go after that, you got the 50s. The 50s start getting better. You know what I'm saying? After the war, you know.
But you believe that the American soldiers in World War I and II were cowards?
No. They more braver than what these soldiers today are. Though.
You've been using the word coward throughout our conversation. Who are you referring to as a coward?
Today we're dealing with cowards, Tim. We're dealing with cowards. Okay. They scared. You understand what I'm saying?
Okay, so they were not cowards in World War I and II.
Not World War One. Let's ask that out.
It's a yes or no question. Were they cowards in World War I and II?
World War II, we were there.
Were they cowards?
No. Not World War II. No, World War II was tough, and you know it. You know, Tim. They went to ground.
All right. I gotta move it on, man. I don't know where this went. But Chris,
switch the subject. Tim.
We'll talk about it on the next go round. I gotta move it on. You took it back to World War II. I don't know why. I don't know why. Anyway, tap the screen, folks. Get the likes on up to 30,000. That was an interesting conversation. I don't know where it came out of, but we do get wild conversations occasionally, and that would qualify as one. What did it say? This guy is all over the place. I'm totally confused. Yeah, he confused me too. I don't know. I mean, we're talking about Trump. We're talking about what's happened this week, and he started out by going all the way to World War One. I do not know where that came from. Anyway, looking in the comments, Tim Nash, your boy, says pendulum. I don't know about that pendulum. I can think of several reasons everything could be interpreted from. I don't know. Let me make sure I get my thing here going. This guy doesn't know why he hates the country he lives in. He just knows someone told him to hate the country he lives in. What a shame. It did sound really weird there. I can't even pronounce it, see the name there. World War One was mostly hand-to-hand combat in trenches with gas. Yeah, them folks fought. I mean, hell, you've seen the movie Saving Private Ryan or some of those movies that did. Even the Vietnam War, all of that shit was bayonets and, I mean, you can't be in that as a coward. You just ain't gonna survive in that. I mean, that stuff was grit. Nowadays, what we're doing now, and I'm not going to disrespect even the current military, but it is absolutely a lot easier to get in a B-2 and fly over a country that has no air defenses and drop a few bunker busters. That's a lot easier than what they dealt with in World War I and World War II. Same thing with the fact that we have drones and all. I mean, a lot of the combat now is hands off. Now, what they're doing in the Ukraine and in Russia is a lot more closer to what they were doing back in the day with trench warfare. But what we're doing, most of the stuff we do now, we're using technology, and we can actually stand away. I mean, we can call in airstrikes and shit like that, where we don't even have to have hand-to-hand or any direct interaction. Only time we really had direct interaction is when we're in, let's say, Fallujah or Kabul, going house to house or something like that. But for the most part, America's able to use this technology and never really have a lot of hand-to-hand interaction anymore. So, looking in the comments, though, some U.S. military leaders, example Eisenhower, Lee, later argued the bomb was unnecessary. They were going to fight to the last man. I think without the bomb, we would have lost a lot more people. MAGA reacts, good evening or welcome to the program. That's the point of being the best. Yeah, I'm fine with that, Kevin. The problem is, though, you can be the best militarily, but the problem is using your superiority for evil. Like being the world's police, for instance, where we're trying to go around the world and tell them how they should live and operate in their countries, which is why I kind of push back on the whole notion that our troops are fighting for our freedom. My humble opinion, ever since World War II, which they were fighting for our freedom, from World War II on out, we're kind of not, they're not fighting on behalf of our freedom. They're fighting to take the freedoms away from others. We're kind of pushing the world to adhere to our way of life. Your life was not in danger when we went to Vietnam, Iraq, Afghanistan, Korea. That wasn't about your freedom. MAGA Reacts, good evening.
Hey, what's going on?
Not much at all. Man, a lot has happened today. Now, I'll throw this at you because a lot of folks are saying this sounds like it's damn near racist. Trump has gotten rid of temporary protected status for as many as 500,000 migrants. I don't know if you heard this or not. We'll talk about it on the other side, but I want you to hear this.
As the Trump administration's Department of Homeland Security ending temporary protection status, that is TPS, for roughly 520,000 Haitians currently residing in the U.S. Taking a live look over the Capitol at this hour, as again, all of this information here is just coming in. The TPS designations for the country will officially expire August 3rd of 2025, and the termination will be effective on Tuesday, September 2nd of this year.
I want you to hear, before you continue, I want just a few more seconds of this. I want you to hear why the administration says they got rid of temporary protected status for all of these Haitian migrants, and then we'll talk about it.
A DHS spokesperson saying, quote, "This decision restores integrity in our immigration system and ensures that temporary protected status is actually temporary." Quote, "The environmental situation in Haiti has improved enough that it is safe for Haitian citizens to return home."
Have you heard anything about Haiti becoming a safer country?
I mean, I haven't heard that it's gotten worse. I mean,
Well,
is it safer?
that's a good point. But if you look on the U.S. State Department's website, they list Haiti as a level 4 do not go territory, citing everything from carjackings to murder to rapes as a reason not to go there. That's on the U.S. State Department's website right now. So why is Trump suggesting it's safer to go home?
The question is, what was it before the Haiti conflict? If it's always been level 4, then that's a bad point. You know what I mean? Like, it might have been always considered a level 4 because Haiti's always been a very poor country.
So let me ask you then, you specifically, you think it's okay to send them back to a level 4 country where all of that exists?
I mean, if it's always been a level 4, then yes. If it's normally a level 2, and right now it's a very dangerous level 4, then no.
It hasn't gotten any better according to the U.S. State Department. That post has been on there since, I think, September of last year. And it says up there, they continue to update it, and they keep updating it by saying it's level 4, carjackings, rapes, and all this stuff. By the way, Canada, Australia, all of the other westernized countries also all list Haiti as a do not go zone at the highest priority. So, which is why I keep asking, have you heard anything that suggests that Haiti has gotten better?
I haven't been paying attention to Haiti news, to be honest with you. I haven't heard any news about Haiti in the last couple of years. It's all been about the immigrants here in America. So I can't really tell you if it's gotten better over there or not.
What about the notion, like some folks, I had Gangsta Grandma earlier, some folks, in fact, all of my liberal viewers are saying this is racist. It shows that he wants to get black immigrants out of the country. What say you?
What I always say, I don't think it has to do with race. It has to do with wealth. I think he wants to get poor people out of the country.
Is that any less awful?
No, but it's got nothing to do with their race. If they were all rich, if these Haitians were all millionaires, he would keep them all.
So we're turning into a country where if you don't have a bunch of money, you can't come here?
We've always been a country where if you don't have a bunch of money, you can't come here.
That's not true. The Irish, the Chinese. I mean, Gangsta Grandma got on here first starting out and tore me a new one, and she's right. A lot far more poor. I mean, just about every group of people that have come here, Polish, all of them were impoverished. What do you mean we've always been where you got to be wealthy? That's not true.
Very expensive to come here. Even the ones coming through our southern border probably had to pay like $5 or $10 grand to coyotes to sneak them over.
You think the Cubans? You're familiar with Florida. You know there's a huge Cuban population down there. You think all of them Cuban migrants had a bunch of money?
Well, that was a special occasion. I guess you're right. I guess with them,
Venezuelans? You think the Venezuelans came here with a bunch of money?
The Venezuelans had money for sure. When they were all coming over here on the regular, they were coming in here rich as hell. They had a lot of money before the socialists took over. They were, I know recently the story switched, and now they're all refugees. But originally, the Venezuelans and Argentinians were bringing a ton of money over here.
I have not heard of that. But the point I'm making is most of the point I'm making is most of the immigrants that have come to this country do not come with a ton of money. Somalians have come to the country. They're up in Minnesota and places like that. There's a ton of Middle Easterners in Michigan. They're not coming here with a bunch of money. I don't know where you heard that from. Maybe the Jewish community.
No, like most of the legal ones, to come here legally, you need money to get through the process, to be able to wait and do all the paperwork and get here legally. You need to have money.
Not under previous administrations. That's some shit that started out under Trump. Like, for instance, temporary protected status, where these Haitian migrants are on. That's legal. That was legal until Trump became president. You didn't need a bunch of money to do that.
Yeah, well, that's the exception. And I guess because Biden abused it, Trump's undoing it. If Biden didn't abuse it, Trump wouldn't care.
Even with him trying to get rid of birthright citizenship. Obviously, you didn't need a bunch of money to do that.
I mean, that's actually to stop something that rich people were doing, because a bunch of rich people were coming here, having their babies here, like staying here a month, having their babies here, and now their baby's a U.S. citizen, and the anchor baby issue. That's usually rich people doing that.
So you're okay with the country becoming a nation where come legally, but you got to have a bunch of money. You're okay with that. What happened to bring us your tired, your weary, you're poor, which is written on the side of the damn Statue of Liberty? So should we take that off?
Maybe we should. That was back in the day when we needed people. Now we got too many.
Too many. Have you driven across South Dakota, Kansas, Nebraska, Wyoming, Montana? Too many.
Like, we have the space for it. We don't have the infrastructure. We don't have the homes. We don't have the water. We don't have what's needed for those people to live. We don't have the water. You do realize the Great Lakes, the 5 Great Lakes, represent 20% of the world's fresh water supply. What do you mean we don't have the water? We still have to process it, bottle it, get it to where it's needed. You need to create the infrastructure. You need to create the roads. You need to create the cities, the homes.
I don't know.
They're not going to be able to live on the side of the lake and drink out of it.
I don't know. It sounded to me like you're coming up with any excuse you can to close the door on these people. We made a major city.
Why is housing so expensive? Because there's not enough housing. If there was a lot of housing, it would be cheap, and importing people would be a smart idea. But with housing going up, it's a sign that we don't have the infrastructure for more people.
Housing is not expensive due to lack of infrastructure. Housing is expensive for everything from the price of the materials to zoning to taxes. I mean, there's a ton of reasons. The bank's lending procedures. I mean, there's all sorts of. I mean, by the way, you could easily allow people to have tiny homes. There's all kinds of other avenues to. If you really wanted people to come to the country, there's all kinds of avenues you could make to make that happen. I don't think it's.
Fix that first. Take care of that first, and then you can invite more people.
Do you see Trump trying to do anything?
I'm pro-immigration, by the way. I care more about border security. As long as they're not coming over the border illegally, I don't care if they stay here, including the Haitians. They could stay here and enjoy their protective whatever.
So you disagree with what Trump is doing with the Haitians then?
Yeah, I mean, I'm pro-border security. As far as the Haitians, they're here, they're living. We'll eventually catch up to the infrastructure. Will eventually catch up to accommodate them, and with the way the border's closed, we'll be fine. So I really am not pro so much. Like, if they're really criminals, yes, deport them. But
have you noticed though? Let me ask you that. You said they're really criminals, deport them, and I would agree with you on deporting criminals. But have you noticed though, with all the deportations going on, you haven't heard the Trump administration talking about how many criminals they're getting rid of. Even when it comes to MS-13 and Trinidad Agua, they're saying things, but in terms of actually showing you actual evidence, have you seen much, if anything at all, about rapists or murderers? Like, here's a picture of a guy, this guy did that, or this guy. Have you seen much of that at all?
I mean, I have on Fox News, but, as far as how much it is, as far as numbers of people that are criminals versus non-criminals, I don't have the stats in front of me.
Okay. I'm just simply saying.
They announce all the time that this person was captured, and they announced the other day that they captured 11 Iranians that they suspect to be terrorists that came in,
Yeah. Now, in the comments, Joseph Miller says he remembers hearing you say you don't even know how you became a citizen. Is that the case?
No, that's not exactly what I said. I became a citizen because my parents I was underage, and when they got their citizenship, I got it through them. I just didn't know what it was called.
Okay, wait a minute. It sounded like it was called an anchor baby. When you became, when you were.
No, it's the opposite of an anchor baby.
Huh?
It's the opposite of the anchor baby.
Wait, hold up. Was your mom and dad a citizen of the U.S. at the time they gave birth to you?
No.
Okay. So
I was born in Egypt. My whole family was born in Egypt. Even my smallest brother came here as a 1-year-old.
Okay. So
what happened is they earned their citizenship. They did all the paperwork. Mm-hmm. They did everything they needed to earn their citizenship. And when they got it, I got it with them. So we got it as a family.
Okay.
But instead of me earning it myself, I got it with my parents, and we got it all as a family.
But it was after the fact, though. I mean, it was after you were already born.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Which is fine, but that's immigration. That's people becoming citizens. That's normal immigration.
Do you support getting rid of birthright citizenship, which is what Trump is trying to do?
I mean, I don't want to say it like that. What I want to do is close the anchor baby loophole. I want to prevent anchor babies. So I want to make sure, like, if you're getting an American citizenship, it's because you live here and, I just want to get rid of anchor babies.
Let me ask it to you this way. Let me ask you
have a baby and then leaving, and that baby's an American citizen forever.
Yeah, here's the problem. We know Trump operates in the gray area a lot. So what he campaigns on, which you and I might agree on, he then goes into the gray. He uses the sympathy that you and I agree with, like getting rid of rapists and murderers, and he uses us agreeing on that to then go after stuff like TPS and things like that. The reason why I'm asking you this is because in regards to getting rid of anchor babies, let's say, for instance, you're living in America and you have a green card. You and your spouse have green cards. You have residency. You've been living on that for 10 or 15 years. If you have a child while you both have green cards, you're not citizens of this country. You just have residency. So technically, your baby is your baby is an anchor baby. Should they be able to deny that baby citizenship based on the fact that neither one of you are citizens?
I got distracted. Can you repeat that?
Okay.
I got completely distracted with the chat.
Fair enough.
Sorry.
A lot of folks that are in this country have green cards, and they've been living with green cards for years because that used to be the gold standard for staying here before President Trump got elected. If you got a green card, you could essentially stay forever. Under Trump, he's canceling people with green. Now, all of that's 100% coming here legally. But what I'm asking you is, let's say you've had a green card for 10 or 15 years, no criminal history, anything, but you have a green card. You don't have citizenship. You have a green card. If you have a child in America, should that child be a citizen knowing that you are not?
Yes. No, if you have a green card or any kind of permanent residence, and you've been here for years and you have a child, that child's a citizen. I'm talking about, what Trump's trying to target is illegals and people who are on like temporary visas or are here visiting for a couple of months and they end up having a kid here and then that kid gets a citizenship just because he happened to be born in America.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you, while a lot of folks would agree with what you're saying, if you have a child and you've been living here for years under residency, don't be surprised if President Trump sees things differently. If you are not in America, and I've been saying this before Trump got elected, when a lot of folks didn't realize how far to the right he was going to go on this stuff. But I've been saying this from day one, is that if you do not have actual citizenship under President Trump, you are not safe. It is not just about gang members or rapists and murderers. If you don't have citizenship and there is a way you can technically be deported, don't be surprised if they use that avenue to get you out of here. And that would include children that were born to parents that were not citizens at the time, parents who just had residency. If you got a child that's now 15 years of age and the parents had residency and they still only have residency, that 15-year-old was born to people that were not citizens. They just had residency. Don't be surprised if Trump uses that avenue to get rid of that 15-year-old. Your parents were not citizens. You got to be a citizen to have a citizen. That's an anchor baby. Don't be surprised if Trump uses that technicality to get rid of people.
That's not quite an anchor baby. I guess maybe technically it might be one, but it's really not. Again, anchor babies are the ones that you literally show up for a couple of months or show up illegally and have a baby, and that baby's all of a sudden a citizen just because you were visiting for a couple of months.
I got people in the comments already that are MAGA that disagree with you now. I got Timmy Tim in the comments already saying it's an anchor baby.
I guess technically it might be, but that's not the kind of anchor baby we're against,
Well, there's a whole bunch of immigrants.
And you've been here for a long time, and this is like your home, and you have a baby. I think that baby should be a citizen.
Yeah, like I said, you and I agree on this stuff, but Trump is using avenues that you and I would agree on to get access to do things that you and I probably won't agree on. Like I said, everybody agreed with getting rid of rapists and murderers and gang members. He used that as an avenue to get into deporting people, but then he started doing things that had not, like the Haitian migrants. They don't check off any of the boxes. He wanted to get rid of people. He wanted to get rid of people who was here on welfare. He wanted to get rid of rapists and murderers. He wanted to get rid of anchor babies. The folks, the Haitian migrants, they don't check off any of those boxes. yet they're about to represent 500,000 deportees.
Well, hopefully he ends up getting stopped because, again, like I think this is where like shit gets weird because I don't agree with Trump on some things, but doesn't mean I'm just gonna turn on him just because 1 out of the 10 things I don't agree with him on.
You're not Candace Owens.
Some people are like that, and I'm not like that. As long I care about if he's doing more good than bad, I'm all for it.
And that makes sense. That makes sense. But let me. That makes sense. That makes sense. But let me ask you this: do you have anything where you draw the line? Like, for instance, it doesn't matter how good a politician is doing. If he starts fucking with the Second Amendment, that's enough for some people. Do you have any one issue where Trump, like Jeremy? I believe his issue was bombing Iran. That was I didn't vote for war. Some people have one issue that if you cross that line, I don't care about the rest. Do you have any one issue like that?
With me, it all depends on the results. Because right now, I still have some trust in Trump. But when he bombed Iran, I was upset. I didn't like the move whatsoever. But it seems to have turned out for the better. And if it leads to permanent peace and no nuclear or anything, I'm going to give him points for it. But if it does lead to more war and ends up in disaster, then it would be my red line. I'll be done with him.
You really believe bombing Iran is going to lead to permanent peace while we're also giving Israel a full go-ahead in Gaza and all this shit? It may not happen under Trump's watch, but we're gonna certainly feel some retaliation for what's going on.
I'm also upset with what Israel's doing in Gaza right now. Again, I was all for them going after Hamas, and I tend to be pro-Israel. But at this point, they're just killing and starving innocent people. And, you know, they need to stop. Just feed the people. Even if Hamas is getting the food, fuck it. You know, feed your enemies. Who cares? You need to feed the people.
All right. It's amazing. I've been talking to you and Jeremy and a lot of MAGA. You guys are starting to, you're not softening on Trump. Jeremy's softened a lot more, but you're starting to admit some of the things Trump is doing you don't favor. You just obviously see him better than any liberal, but even you starting to see some cracks in there.
A lot of this is not really Trump. Like, I don't blame Trump for what Israel's doing, but he should do something about it, especially when it gets really bad.
You don't blame Trump for what Israel's doing. The guy who has been bragging that if he was president, none of the wars would have happened, yet they're happening under his watch and suddenly, well, now you don't blame him for any of it.
I mean, this is a conflict that's been happening for 40 years, and he's doing his best.
We ain't been starving. We haven't been starving the Palestinians and committing genocide for 40 years. This is something that happened under Trump watch. What happened under Biden, the worldwide conflicts under Biden have gotten significantly worse under President Trump. The Ukrainian-Russian war is worse. I mean, we don't now went into Iran. That wasn't happening under Biden. And the Israeli-Gaza conflict, as you're rightfully pointing out, is just nothing short of genocide. That stuff has gotten way worse under Trump.
Yes and no. I agree with you, but I also think these things would have been just as bad under Biden. I think under Biden, this war in Iran would still be going on.
But was it?
He's always looking for peace. Like, he's always pushing for peace and asking for peace and let's talk peace. Like, every tweet, even the bad war ones, is like, all right, let's fucking negotiate some peace right now.
You're pushing for okay.
You had to let Iran and Israel fight it out because
no. If you had the only reason Israel even went into Iran is because they knew they would have the United States blessing. If Biden or Kamala was in office, America would never have backed Israel going into Iran to begin with. That is a war that would not have happened if a liberal was in office. We would not have supported letting Israel, because Israel can't do it without our weapons and ordnance.
Why do you say that? Because all the other wars happened they went into Jordan, they went into everywhere with a liberal in office. So what makes you think the elevated nature of it? Where didn't they go? They went to Syria, they went to everywhere under Biden.
I think the elevated nature of it. But remember, we can talk about the liberals, but it was President Trump the one that's claiming that wars would not happen under him, and they went in under him.
Yeah, I mean, Again, that's a whole other discussion whether this was like a war or a short conflict. And again, Iran Israel was a war, but what we did was definitely not a war. It was like one strike.
If you're dropping bombs on a sovereign country and they're firing bombs back at you to your sovereign country, that's a war. A war. There's no designation for how long a war has to last.
They had a 12-day war.
What?
We didn't have a war. Israel and Iran had a war.
Well, Israel and Iran had a war because they couldn't get to the United States. I mean, Israel had wiped out all of their defenses. But Israel and Iran, that war broke out under Trump.
No, I give you that. But let's see where it leads. That's all I'm saying. I mean, I agree with you with most of what you're saying. It's just I want to see where it leads. Because in the end, what if this war leads to a long-term peace? Then, Trump did the right thing. But if it doesn't lead to a long-term peace and just leads to more disaster and more war, then Trump did the wrong thing. Well, so we'll see. This is the difference. Like, you guys are all about purity tests and this and that. I care about the results. So I'm waiting to see the results. And, even on day one, I said it was a huge gamble. It might end in world peace. It might end in World War III. We'll see how it ends. And then would you give Trump?
My belief is that we were better off with the Obama deal and working with that. I think going over there and dropping a bunch of bombs and then hoping for long-term peace.
The reason that deal didn't work is because it was funding terrorism. Terrorism was an all-time high because Iran had all the money in the world to fund it. And this is why I agree with Trump leaving it, because after Trump left it and sanctioned Iran again, they were broke and terrorism did go down.
One of the world's largest suppliers of oil, you think Iran was broke?
They could only sell it to China, and China was not paying full price for that.
You realize how many people are in China, even if they paid 25% of the price? They're not broke. Iran was broke.
They could only spend that much. Let's put it like this, everyone's talking about, did he destroy the base or not? Even if he didn't destroy the base, Iran just lost a lot of money in missiles and defense, all the fucking jets and shit Israel blew up. They're going to be hurting for money for a very long time. So they'd be stupid to spend their money enriching uranium instead of feeding their people.
Shit, you listen to the Trump administration. We're hurting for money right now. I got to move it on, no matter reacts.
Yeah, we got an unlimited credit card that doesn't seem to ever want to run out. Okay. They don't.
We'll see how that works. Appreciate you coming through. And in regards to unlimited credit card debt, when you're firing federal workers, go tell them we got unlimited credit card debt. They've lost their damn jobs because Trump and Elon claimed we were going broke. Joseph Miller says it's more than that. MAGA is gone. Peace. He also says it's deeper than that. MAGA gone. Yeah. Well, I mean, look, at the end of the day, Trump promised that he would be getting out of wars, and if he had won in 2020, no new wars would have started. That doesn't appear to be valid. Anytime you're on television dropping F-bombs because you can't get Israel and Iran to listen to you, but you think you're going to stop the war between Russia and the Ukraine? I think that he did what he normally does. He exaggerates his capabilities. I don't think those wars, and certainly the idea that Trump was somehow going to stop Hamas from using paragliders and going into Israel, that absolutely would have happened under his watch. Absolutely would have happened under his watch. There's no way he would have stopped that. MAGA's gone stupidity. Trump's bullshit stupidity claims. Back to, don't know what that says, but we'll continue on with the program. I don't know what am I reading here? Thank you guys for, by the way, tap the screen. I haven't asked that. We should be way up there. Get your boy up to about 50,000 on the likes. And I will continue on with Dencal. Good evening. Welcome to the program. I think I hit that. Oh, Miss Mobetta. Good evening.
Hey, Tim.
Hey, how you doing?
I tried to sign on the other day, which was my birthday, so we could have a party. We was going to say, fuck all our shit for the moment. We was going to turn up.
Happy belated. Mine is...
Then they cut your show short. I don't know what happened. to what you said or whatever, then they cut you short.
No, I had to step away for a minute. And by the way, my birthday.
No, they cut you off right in the middle of the conversation. So I was like, okay.
It happens.
So,
of
course.
Happy belated. By the way, mine is coming up in a couple of days as well. So.
Yeah, we're the same age. We the kids are babies, the water babies.
Good old Gen X. Good old Gen Xer. So, what do you think? I got a lot of viewers on here that are really suggesting that Trump getting rid of TPS status for Haitian migrants is some kind of indication of racism. What say you?
Well, see, when the gangster grandma was on and she was speaking, she be on point with a lot of stuff. She struggles to articulate it at times because she was kind of spot on. Now, there are just as many other undocumented people that have stayed over their visas, but it appears that he's only targeting the black and brown immigrants.
You believe there's a large number of white illegal immigrants in this country?
I do believe so. And you know what's happening is Trump invites them in. They invite them in. So what happens is the white immigrants look like them. They blend in well when they come over here. So they're not at risk of being deported. You know what I mean? Because I look like them. They can't tell if I'm an immigrant or not. That's because they're not checking for them.
Yeah, see in the comments on YouTube, I think it says Sassy says there are 600,000 whites that are here illegally. 600,000, really?
Wow. I don't even know the number, so but I'm sure there is. You know what I mean? So, but again, they're not targeting them. They're not going after them. How many? He said Europeans. Everybody that Trump is mentioning is from South America, and that's because, and they're all black and brown people.
So
prove me wrong.
So
prove me wrong. I'd shut up.
Now, while you were talking, I did Google this sentence. How many white illegal immigrants are there in the U.S.? That's exactly what I Googled. Now, AI, take it with a grain of salt, but AI said it's estimated that there are around 579,000 undocumented immigrants in the U.S. who were born in Europe, Canada, Oceania, which is down there in the Australia area. According to 11alive.com, this group represents about 5% of the total undocumented population. Many of these individuals are from Eastern Europe and the Middle East. White Europeans, white Middle Easterners, rather than Western Europe. It's important to note that these numbers can fluctuate and are based on estimates rather than precise counts. That's a lot of people, but interesting enough, which is what I was pushing back on Gangster Grandma and saying there's far more brown. 5% is, it's a lot of people. 579,000 is nothing.
And it possibly, again, could go up because they're not checking for them. That whether it's higher or lower, they're still not checking for them.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? And they you don't hear anybody talk about, well, those European, all they talk about, the El Salvadorians, the Mexicans, which they need to stop calling them all Mexicans because they're not. Even if they come through the Mexican border, they're not all Mexicans.
Yeah. And I see in the comments, MAGA React says 579,000 out of 10 million. So what is that?
MAGA Reacts need to shut up before they revoke his status. Because from what I was listening to Trump, you would be an anchor baby or whatever they call that. Your parents weren't born here. Just because you were, that doesn't mean you get to stay either.
Yeah.
So find something else to do with your time.
That is my analysis on this, is that the Trump administration's goal is, if I can find a way to legitimately deport you, I'm going to deport you. And if I can create a reason like birthright citizenship or change a law that allows it, the goal is to get rid of people. So I'm going to, any technicality you can come with, rapists and murderers and gang, it sounded great during election time, but really the goal is any reason you can find to deport people, use it. So, which is why I don't understand why these folks are showing up to court dates and shit like that. They're not going to let you stay.
Yeah, you might as well become the criminal that they say you are and not show up.
Right. You're not going to be
even respect.
Go
They're
ahead.
not even respecting the fact even if people have green cards now, they're not even respecting any of that. They're like, all right, well, let's just grab them up and we'll worry about the logistics later.
Right. Yeah, they're not
Because
gonna.
he wants to make it seem like he's this savior. I'm a savior. I'm the king. I'm the Don. That's Trump's whole mentality. That's his whole demeanor. It doesn't matter who gets trampled on or who gets left behind, whether you're here. Like I said, he talk about everybody but his wife.
Yeah, I hear she's here on a Einstein visa. Like if you're a chemist or a nuclear scientist, she's on an Einstein visa. So she clearly violated that process.
Yeah, well, I know they're gonna hate Jasmine Crockett for real now for calling her out. That's how they felt. She called that out. She laid it out. Let's get this straight. She hasn't been to the Olympics. She hasn't had any Nobel Peace Prize. She has none of that stuff.
Yeah.
How did she get such a high clearance?
Yeah. It's pretty clear. Melania Trump. They just made up a way to let her stay in the country. There's no.
Made it up.
Yeah. There's no way she should have an
anyway.
Einstein. Yeah, there's no way she should have that.
Right, and we all know that. Now they just have to enlighten her husband on it.
Hold on. Listen to this. You know MAGA's going to defend her. I got John and who is no reply says Melania Trump says his wife came in on an Einstein visa that deals with art as well. She was a model, aka artist. She then got her work visa. She was taking her clothes off.
Lord, fix it, Jesus. Fix it, Jesus. Lord have mercy. Okay, so if that's what they're calling it, art, all right. Yeah. It still doesn't warrant that high of a clearance.
You know the immediate pushback would be, show me somebody else that did what Melania Trump did and was granted an Einstein visa. Like there's probably nobody else out there that has done what Melania Trump did and got an Einstein visa as a result. So the art thing is just not working.
They don't demand that Trump shows any receipts or any proof of anything.
No accountability.
No accountability.
Yeah.
And that's why he's getting away with so much stuff. He demonizes his opposition, and his side don't call him out on anything. Like you said, we obliterated Iran and all that stuff, and the report said that's a lie, and I'm saying that in my Maury voice. That all you did was set them back a couple of months. That wasn't obliteration.
So I guess I'd have to ask. I mean, with the liberals thinking that Trump is the second coming of Satan, why do you think this MAGA loves Trump? I mean, I had a viewer state not long ago that Trump is the best president since Abraham Lincoln. Why do you think they see it so differently than the folks on the left?
Well, the Satan was once an angel too, and when he got kicked out of heaven, he took a third of the angels with him.
Damn.
That's what we're seeing. So to them, he's a god. He works for them or whatever, and they still have yet to prove what he's done to make anything better. Because right now, even with the border being somewhat secure, how much more have you saved since they've been gone?
What do you mean?
As far as economics go, how much have you saved since the migrants have been gone?
Oh,
because right now what I'm seeing is everything's going up, including gas.
Yeah. Well, you know my opinion on that. I don't think getting rid of migrants is most of the things we cite as a reason for getting rid of these migrants, creating jobs, making America more safer. I don't think you're going to notice any of that. I strongly believe that the amount of crime, like violent crime in this country, is committed by Americans. In the disparity between Americans committing violent crime and the crime that illegal immigrants commit, it's so sparse or so enormous. The difference is that you can get rid of every illegal immigrant in this country, and I don't think you would really see the crime rates drop in virtually any city at all. It's mostly Americans doing that shit.
You won't. It's still happening, and Trump plays semantics with MAGA because they buy into anything he says. Again, because he never has to prove anything, and then you see once it starts showing, he's crashing out. That's why he's cursing. He's frustrated because nothing. He himself know the shit that he say is bullshit.
I mean, I don't think most
now
people.
He got to cuss.
Well, he likes doing it, but I don't think most Americans know anybody that was victimized violently by an illegal immigrant. That's why you keep hearing Lincoln Riley over and over and over again. If there's millions of them here and they're that bad, there should be cases you're hearing all the time. I mean, but I don't think
that was my next point. If there's such rapists and murderers and all of that stuff, why are the numbers not higher as far as the people you're arresting? Or, how do you know that who they are being here? You can't even catch these motherfuckers. How do you know what they are?
Yeah. You would be hearing far more. You would be hearing far more deportations from county jails and prisons as opposed to Home Depot and work sites. I mean, if they're that bad, we're So it doesn't add up.
Yeah, it doesn't. And again, men lie, women lie, numbers don't. Whether they're good or bad numbers, the numbers are there, or the lack of. You know what I mean? Trump, he has a big mouth. He really doesn't know shit. His cognitive skills are declining, whether they want to admit it or not. Which they don't have to tell his cognitive. It's going to show anyway. You understand? That's just like when Biden. Everybody saw that his not knowing that he had cancer, that his cognitive skills were declining because he took that one debate where Biden fucked up every other debate he would Trump ass out, but that one debate and just went crazy with it.
He should have did what Trump. I still say he should have did what Trump did to the other Republicans that were trying to primary him. He should have just not even showed up to the debate. I mean,
don't even go.
Yeah, you're not going to.
That's what Trump does. How many times has Trump pled the fifth?
Yeah. I mean, because the debate between Biden and Trump was not going to sway any voters at all. Like Biden should have said, or his handlers or whatever, because obviously people knew he was in cognitive decline. They should have told him, there's absolutely no reason for you to go here.
Not only that, Trump, Tim, they had their minds made up either way. Like I said, they MAGA rides with Trump wholeheartedly. Unless you like Candace Owens. See, Candace Owens, she made her money off Trump already. So now she like, all right. And I still don't like the hoe. But she made her money off of being derogatory mainly towards black people. Yeah. That's why her black card was revoked and her invite to the barbecue was revoked also. Yeah. So, But
there's another avenue you're talking about. Okay, she made her money off Trump and she doesn't, but you do realize criticizing Trump comes with MAGA death threats. She's receiving death threats.
Oh, I'm sure it does, because that's how they radical like that. But they want to say the Democrats is doing XYZ. Everything, almost every crime that was committed by the American people, those people were hardcore Republicans.
What do you mean?
You could, like the Dylan Roof and the guy who up in Buffalo that shot up that the grocery store.
I gotta disagree with you on that. My guess is Luigi Maggione, the guy who took out the United Healthcare CEO, he's probably a liberal. I mean, there's some liberals.
Him. And name somebody else.
The guy who the guy who took out or tried to take out they were playing softball and he tried to take out some of the players. It was a congressional softball game. That was a liberal. I cannot think of the guy he hit. I mean, he hit him in the thigh and took out the femoral artery and almost killed that guy. That was a liberal that did that. So I mean, there's some liberals.
I don't remember that one, but I'll give you that though.
Steve Scalise was his name. The guy who got capped was Steve Scalise.
Was this in Pennsylvania somewhere?
It was, I think it was over east, but it was some Republican Congress members playing against some Democratic Congress members. They were playing softball, and the guy showed up pew-pewing people, and he was a Democrat.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
I didn't hear about it. But listen, that's not to say that Democrats don't commit crimes, because they do.
Okay.
I'd be a fool to say that they don't, because they do. You know what I mean? But the majority are Republicans. And you can check that. You can check those numbers. It's just it's a sad day, because we are really the laughing stock. People keep Trump is tough to MAGA, but to everybody else he's weak, and they're laughing at his ass. Ask MAGA why does he support Israel? Why America period still support Israel after all of these years?
Well, did you hear me? Well, you may have not been watching that night, but Ted Cruz got interviewed by Tucker Carlson, and he revealed that he supports Israel because it is what's in the Bible. And my guess is Trump, who is catering to his evangelical base, may be doing the same. I mean, really, whether it's left or right, even the liberal politicians, for the most part, have been supporting Israel. I think Obama's the only one I can really think of that was being critical of Israel. But for the most part, we support Israel.
Because Obama comes from a different demographic. His background is different. He's a black man, and so now this is where people's history. They really need to sit down and learn the history, because a lot of those people that are in Israel now are not the true Israelites. True Israelites, these are Europeans that are actually occupying Israel right now. They're not the original the Hebrews. They're not the original ones. That's why they're Jewish. So like I said, that takes a lot of sitting down history and a lot to hear stuff that is not going to be appealing to you. Yeah. To them. You know what I'm saying? So, and people are like, oh, you're talking about race. Race has to play a part in order for you to know why things are the way they are now.
Yeah.
You have to go to the root of things in order to see why it's producing bad fruit.
Yeah, race has always mattered. People, I agree with you. People tend to say you need to move past race and things like that. Race has always mattered. I mean, whether you want to admit it or not, it has always played a part.
And just because you state some things doesn't mean that you're a racist or you anti. Because I'm pro-black like a motherfucker. I'm gonna tell you that now. But that doesn't mean I'm anti-white or anti-Jewish or anti-anything else. I'm anti-bullshit. You know what I'm saying?
So you don't buy into the notion that Black Lives Matter means you don't care about other people's lives?
No, because that's not what it means. See, the thing about what Black Lives Matter is because the black people were still being targeted for shit that they did not do.
Fair enough.
Now, and George, when that happened with George Floyd, that didn't have to happen that way. You had this cocky ass redneck leaning on this man's neck for 9 minutes and publicly, and he didn't give a fuck what happened or who had to say what. Yeah. And people keep saying, now then they bringing up the conspiracy theories. Oh, he died of fentanyl. First of all, if he died of fentanyl, you know how many different things happen when you're dying from fentanyl?
Yeah.
No, they don't.
Well, thank you, Archangel. Thank you, Archangel, for that astronaut. Appreciate that. Thank you. My whole thing is, and I do got to move it on. Before I do, though, I'll say this: when they claim that George Floyd died of fentanyl, or enlarged heart, or COVID, or whatever, my point is simple: if you're a police officer and you stumble upon somebody that's dying of narcotics, or you don't sit on the guy for 9 minutes. So it doesn't matter what he passed away of.
Either way, it was fucked up. Right.
You're right. It don't matter.
It was disheartening because that means he disregarded that this man has something going on and failed to administer first aid.
Right. If you stumble upon a heroin addict,
he drugged those other officers down with him because apparently they were scared of his ass.
Yeah. If you stumble upon a heroin addict and your first response is to just sit on the guy for 9 minutes, you're probably going to cost the city a fortune if something happens to him. Mr. Mobetta, appreciate it. I got to go.
Go ahead. To Alter Ego, he said that I was using the term redneck as a racial slur. Yes, to that Derek Chauvin, absolutely was. And you could take that how you want it.
All right. Thank you. All right, moving on with the program, and that is the one and only Miss Mobetta. Someone made a comment I wanted to respond to. Jay Fed says, these are all liberal media talking points. Everyone should stop trusting CNN, MSNBC, ABC, CBS News. They get paid to lie to us. I always find it humorous that folks on the right mention all of these mainstream media outlets, and then they will sit there and send you shit all day long that's got Fox News ticker at the bottom of it, or OAN or Newsmax. As if you can't trust these networks, but you can trust these. By the way, if you think that the stuff that appears on Truth Social or X is accurate, you can point out all these networks that lean left, but you don't realize all of the networks that you watch, they're just as biased. All the networks that told you Trump won the 2020 election, or that January 6th was an issue with Antifa, all of that shit is not true. But you can see the liberal media, huh? You sitting there watching all that lying media, and meanwhile, and they're telling you why they're lying to you about how bad CNN is. Trump has an administration full of officials from Fox News, a network that paid $750 million because they got caught in a lie. And now they're literally working in the government. And he's on TV talking about how bad CNN is. But yet his whole administration is loaded with people from a network that were literally caught in the process of lying and lost it in court. You just can't make it up. You cannot make this shit up. If you were about authentic media, you wouldn't take anyone from Fox. You wouldn't take anyone from Fox News. You could criticize CNN or MSNBC, but the minute you start hiring folks from Fox News, all credibility is shot. I'm literally watching Fox News the evening of January 6th when Judge Jeanine Pirro at the time, who's now part of the Trump administration, said that was Antifa. You're in a studio in New York. You're nowhere near DC. How the hell are you going to be suggesting while the event is taking place that that's Antifa? But no, it's only CNN that tells a lie. It's hilarious. Some of this stuff is hilarious. Pete Hegseth immediately denying that he even used the Signal app until the evidence became overwhelming that he did, suggesting there was no war plans on there until they actually proved that he was lying. He's from Fox. And when he was on Fox, he was giving news from a right-wing standpoint. He was not being honest. But you only see CNN and MSNBC, huh? Okay. All right, looking in the comments, though, Jesus taught that while believers should generally obey the laws of the land, they must prioritize obedience to God's law. When the two conflict, this principle is illustrated in his teachings. Well, I'm going to tell you right off the bat, based on what you're saying there, Will, then we're not Christians, because there's no way in hell what we're doing to immigrants in this country right now is according to God's law. Some of these folks are claiming they're not even being fed. And I was going to bring that to tonight's show, but I've already started. But we've lost 10 people already in ICE custody since Trump got elected. 10 people have died in ICE custody already. And that's the ones that are confirmed. If they confirmed 10 deaths, you damn sure can believe there's more. You think that's going according to the teachings in the Bible? People claiming they haven't eaten and shit. They're holding people no food and things like that. That's happening in America. Teachings of the Bible. Looking in the comments real quick, though. We'll go to the next caller. Don't know what I just hit there, but we'll see if we can bring it up. Dencal. Somebody's trying to... Hang on, let me close it. Okay. If I can make it happen this time. There we go. Dencal, good evening. Welcome to the program. If you watch NBC and ABC, if you watch NBC and ABC, you CBS from Fox. Don't know what that means. Dwight Dorsey says heart attacks. No, it's more than heart attacks. Pregnant women are having complications. They didn't all die from heart attacks. Dencal, good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah.
In the middle of all of that, you were saying you still got people on the other side making excuses. They have no idea what you're talking about. This is the first time they ever heard you say it. They instantly have an excuse.
It's pretty good. That's pretty good work. That's pretty good work if you can get it, if you're Trump. People go, look, you can be, the police can tell you we just arrested Trump for murder. And that, well, you know, he had to defend, like, you don't even know who he killed. You don't even know who he killed. I mean, it's good work if you can get it.
Immediate excuses, man. It's amazing.
It is amazing. I mean, the same thing with the no new wars, and then we immediately start giving reasons why it was good I did to bomb Iran. I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing. Good work if you can get it.
Excuse, man. I don't know. Where do they get that skill from? I guess if you watch Trump, man, because Trump sat there today, man, and just lie after lie after, like he's sitting up there talking about, we got almost no inflation, gas is around $2. Like he's saying this shit with a straight face, and the people are so afraid to challenge him because they don't want to get cursed out or nothing. So they just, everybody in the room sitting there listening to this man lie about everything.
That is listen, there could be good from Trump. I mean, I'm not bragging on anything he's doing right now, but that's the thing that really frightens me the most, Dan Cal, is that we know that there are a hell of a lot of Republicans throughout the Senate, Congress, probably in gubernatorial positions and things like that, that are literally afraid of that man, that will not speak out, simply put out of fear. That's what really concerns me, is that people are scared of him. I mean, it ain't that he's doing things that are just phenomenal all the time. It's that people are literally afraid to state something that they would clearly speak up if it was Obama, Biden, or even maybe George W. Bush. They are scared of this guy.
I mean, you guys, Pete Hegseth up there just berating reporters. Talking about, he did
from his network.
It was obliterated. Like, dude, no, it wasn't. We got all of it. Everybody, the Mossad, the Israeli intelligence, everybody is saying that their shit has been degraded. It might have been set back a few months.
And you know what's comical when you pointed out that Pete Hegseth said it's obliterated. It's kind of like when Trump says not Nancy Pelosi, Nikki Haley? She's a bird brain. All of a sudden, you look all over right-wing media, bird brain. He calls somebody Pocahontas. They use the same words. You notice how much you've heard obliterated lately? There are other synonyms for destruction.
You got Lindsey Graham. Well, it was obliterated.
Yeah. It's like literally he has his hand up their ass making them talk. Like you're literally using the same words. Like there are all sorts of synonyms you can use. He destroyed it. He wiped it out. I mean, like everybody's saying obliterated. Like really?
And Trump will get on his Truth Social and say he invented the word obliterated, and they will agree with him.
It's good work if you can get it. I'm just going to say that it's good work if you can get it. To have that kind of power, I'm jealous of the guy. I can't hate on the man. That's good work if you can get that. But I do believe people are literally afraid of him. So that to the point where if they did have credible evidence that Iran's nuclear program was only set back a few months, you're not going to hear it. I mean, even if they have the authorization to tell you, you're not going to hear it.
Right. They've put the memo out to all of the people in the DOD to not even talk to the Democratic politicians, not even talk to the people in Congress about their assessments and anything. So they're withholding information just because they don't want us to know the truth. And this would not be acceptable from any other president who wouldn't give us a battle damage assessment because it doesn't say what the president says it said. Like, why is he mad at them for asking the question? That's everybody's fucking job. Oversight is to look at these assessments and determine whether they were successful or not.
They're trying to...
The whole script and said, why are you guys... He said the pilots of the mission are very disappointed.
Yeah. They're trying to now suggest that by you questioning whether the Iranian nuclear program was destroyed or not, that means you're insulting the military. They're trying to, and I mean that's a very smart tactic because that's the whole thing with the Colin Kaepernick taking a knee. By doing this, you're insulting them because everybody supports the military. So if you can get people to believe that this person doing this is insulting the military, you demonize them. But you're correct. The media has a right. Certainly, when you're boasting that you obliterated, they have a right to ask. Are you certain of that? Based on the satellite images that have been shown, you don't see verification of obliteration. We see a hole, which means the rockets could have, what do they call them, bunker buster bombs. They could have obliterated things below ground, but the evidence does not validate that. So you're on. And by the way, the quickness of him going on television, while it was still dark in Iran, so there was no clear-cut satellite photos even at that time to assess the damage. You went on TV so damn fast saying things were obliterated. You kind of open up the door for people to question it.
Well, that's his MO, right?
Yeah.
Go out and say you won. He's been doing that his whole career. It doesn't matter. Go out there and say everything was 100% success. Even if you know it's not, just go out there and say it and make people deal with it.
It's been pretty successful. And I see in the comments, someone said I'm going to block you. I'm so tired of coming across your lives. One of my YouTube viewers. Here's what I will say though, Dencal, that I don't think people are even considering. You got a lot of folks on the right that are bragging that Trump didn't kill anybody. Nobody was killed in the strikes in Iran. But I don't think they're putting two and two together. Here's what I'm saying is that, okay, the only way you could go and bomb all of these facilities and not take a life is if the people would have had to know you were coming and vacate.
Exactly.
It vacated. So the idea that they vacated all these facilities, but yet they decided to leave all the valuables behind. If they know you're coming, they're not only going to leave, they're going to probably take some technology and shit with them. And there's satellite photos of all of the trucks lined up. Now, Trump is claiming those trucks carried cement to try to block the missile from going down the shaft. This is what he's saying. He's saying that the trucks that are shown on satellite photo, well over a dozen of them, were carrying cement to try to block the shaft. But if but does that not make sense? If you didn't kill anybody and they knew you were coming, they're going to try to take everything they can with them.
Listen, one thing that's been going across all of it is that every time there's been a strike, it has been forecast. It has been forecast that they were going to do it. Even when the Iranians called us and said, "Look, we're gonna be shooting at the base in UAE or in Qatar," you know what I'm saying?
So what is this? Just some kind of vanity war? People telling each other ahead of time it's gonna happen?
Look, everybody got the same face. That's why the Ayatollah came out last night and said, "What a great victory for my country! We have destroyed the infidel."
But I will say, one entity is not telling people. Israel intends to kill people. They ain't telling you shit. Yeah. They really want to murder people.
Right, and from my perspective, Netanyahu is not pleased because he wanted the United States to fully destroy Iran. Yep. He wanted to. There's been reports that they were trying to get the Ayatollah. They were trying to take him. That's what Netanyahu wants was total destruction. He didn't get it, and now the American people are pushing on Trump. So he's not going back in. If Iran don't do nothing else, it'll be hard pressed for him to go back in and finish the job like Netanyahu wants him to do. So he's kind of in between a rock and a hard place. We did most of the work for him, but we were just unsuccessful, man. It's hard to say it any other way. He got on there yesterday and said, "This has been the most successful military operation in the history."
But I gotta push back a little bit when you said it'd be hard to get Trump to go over there. I mean, we clearly know Trump is favoring intelligence coming out of Israel as opposed to intelligence coming from Tulsi Gabbard in the United States. So if Netanyahu gives him bad intelligence again, such as if let's say Netanyahu tells them, here's photos to suggest you did not hit their nuclear weapons, or they do have another hidden place that we didn't see. I mean, what are the chances Trump may go with that?
I don't look. Well, let me not say what I think Trump gonna do. I was wrong when I said he wasn't going in the first time. Yeah. It would be hard pressed for me to see him going back in after all of the pushback he's getting now. Like, even though it's tepid, but you've heard some MAGA people say, we ain't with that stuff he doing.
I don't know, Dencal. You say all the pushback. Trump eats pushback for breakfast. I don't think Trump gives a damn about pushback.
What about Rogan? What about Candace? What about what's Trump the other guy? Some of the other more powerful right wing people. Like, there's being pushback.
Trump
And,
can.
like,
I get the pushback, but Trump can destroy anybody you name like that. If Trump really starts attacking Joe Rogan, I mean, Candace Owens is receiving death threats, so she's already going down. But if he decided to go after Rogan or Tucker Carlson or any of these people, MAGA's going to go with Trump. Now there may be a few people who would still listen to Tucker or some of these folks, but Trump has the power to make most of them folks. He can neutralize them.
Bannon pushed back, but Bannon told him not to do it. He did it anyway.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like his coalition, man, outside of the Jewish people, which they were the most people that funded his campaign, the Adelsons, and those were the people that are literally on tape saying that Trump did what he promised us he was going to do as far as taking Israel's side on every single issue.
Now in the comments, Daddy Tube Family says Trump can't take down Joe Rogan. Do you believe Joe Rogan is so big? Because he is one of the number one. By the way, he did take him out because Rogan was number one. And when Rogan started complaining that, I think it was Rogan complained about something the Trump administration was doing. And he became number 3. So he's already took him down significantly. Now I got a viewer saying Trump can't take Rogan down. Do you agree with that?
I mean, it depends on what you mean by taking him down.
I mean, cost you a ton of viewers.
I think he can walk away with a ton of viewers saying that this is not masculine what Trump is doing. This is not alpha male, attitude. I believe he can make a dent. Now, keep in mind, MAGA, the people with him are what, 30 to 40% of the voters. Mm-hmm. Bro, if you knock him down, if you take away 5 to 10%, bro, that's a lot. That's a lot of his political power.
I don't know if Rogan could hurt Trump. I think Trump could hurt Rogan a lot more. Not to mention with Trump.
Yeah. It'll be mutual kind of hurting each other. But yes, I mean that whole masculine thing, that whole meeting with Rogan took him over the top.
I mean, the reason why I say that is because you see what Trump did to law firms that defended Hillary Clinton or Dr. Fauci and all of this shit. I mean, Joe Rogan has a contract with a syndicated or whatever the case may be. He receives his money from somewhere. Trump administration would just target that location. You
can't mess with it. You might be able to mess with it with like maybe some of the sponsors and stuff, but this a podcast, bro. You can't take down the podcast. You can do that in your basement. Like you can't.
Yeah, but no sponsors. The podcast is, if you don't have no sponsors, like for instance, when I'm not having sponsors, when I'm doing this, I got 4 fucking cameras and laptops and shit aimed at me. This stuff costs money. When nobody's donating to the program, I end the program. I mean, you need money to continue. So I mean,
you know what? You know why I disagree with that particularly is because Rogan is being backed by Saudi money now. When they do those big fights and stuff, they're doing them in the UAE. They're doing them over there in the Middle East. He's got a lot of money, and those Saudis want to control the whole entire sports arena. They will continue to fund him if Trump don't like him or not, because they don't like Trump either. They just go along to get along so he won't mess with them. And so they pledge a bunch of money that they don't really care about anyway. So I don't think that Trump could take him down to where he wouldn't be relevant anymore. But one thing I want to let the people know, especially MAGA Reacts, about this whole thing, Trump is now negotiating. He wants to negotiate with the Iranians a deal that we already had with them. Yeah. The only difference now, the first deal, the problem that he stated that he had with that deal is that deal did not include stipulations for their ballistic missile program. So he's they agree with all of the nuclear stuff, but they wanted it to include their ballistic missile program. And Iran said, no, we will not stop being able to defend ourselves with ballistic missiles. We're not going to allow you to just, dismantle that program. That was the only thing that he said he wanted to add to it. So now he tore it up. So all of this time where they talking about Trump had them broke, they couldn't do nothing. They still had all of their proxies all over the Middle East doing whatever they was doing while Trump was gone. I don't understand why they think because Trump come around, everybody broke and can't do shit.
It's the Superman status they believe Trump has. Didn't Cal? I got to move it on, but like I said, it's nice work if you can get it.
Right. That's the last part about that is that in this new deal, we're going to be offering Iran more money. Now, do you remember when he said Obama gave them all of this money and they were so rich?
I mean, not to mention how much money it cost during the bombing. I mean, we spent way more money bombing them, and now you're talking about giving them money than what Obama was doing.
Right. So he's all of this literally started because he stopped the agreement that was already in place. Yeah. So all of the death, all of the new T groups that were created, because everybody in Iran that dies because of these bombings have now become real radicalized. Every family, somebody, even if it was a scientist or some guy just working in the parking lot at the, you know what I'm saying, at these places, when they die, those people now have a pure hatred for America, and that's not going to stop because they come up with some agreement.
Right, and we probably committed a lot of radicals in Gaza by backing Israel too. Thanks, Cal. Appreciate it.
Yep.
All right, looking in the comments real quick, somebody said, Daddy Tube family says Joe Rogan got fuck you money. That sounds great, but didn't Elon have even more fuck you money? And look at him. He's eager to get back into Trump's good graces. He's starting to post tweets and shit, trying to defend some of Trump's causes. I mean, he had fuck you money too. And look what Trump did to him. A large portion of MAGA no longer respects Elon. So I don't know. I really think Trump could get rid of Joe Rogan. Maybe like my last caller, many of you folks disagree with me. Fair enough. I don't mind a dissenting opinion. But I believe if Trump just went rally after rally, constantly trashing Rogan, I think that he would be hurting. I mean, listen, there are going to be some viewers that are going to stick with him, but Spotify is where he has his contract, targeting Spotify, and I mean, I think he would be hurting. I really think he would be hurting. We'll see. By the way, tap the screen, get me on up to 60,000 before I go to the next caller. The name Elon is from a novel written in 1949. I don't know what that relevance that has about telling us what his name is. We voted for Trump, says Melissa. Fair enough. Appreciate having you here. Joe Rogan don't want to be on the administration. Now, I'm not saying he want to be on the administration. I'm saying that if Joe Rogan is on his podcast saying things that are critical of Trump, Trump could take him out like that. All of them folks that people listen to. Tucker Carlson is a big one. Obviously, Steve Bannon, Megyn Kelly. We seen what he did to Megyn Kelly back during the debates in 2016. At any given time, and by the way, now I know a lot of my beloved MAGA did not even listen to the January 6 hearings, but Tucker Carlson, that came out during the January 6 hearings when they were looking at it came out when Fox News lost that defamation suit. $2 million is when it came out. Tucker Carlson had actually sent out a message, I think, to either Sean Hannity or Laura Ingraham, and Tucker Carlson stated, Trump could take us all out. I mean, he was admitting it then. He already knew that Trump had that kind of power, that if we say something that goes against Trump, he could wipe all of us out. And I believe that. I mean, everybody from Sean Hannity to Rogan, all of them folks, if Trump decides to continue to attack those folks, it's not going to be long before a large contingent of MAGA is going to be like, I never really trusted them anyway. They were loving the hell out of Elon. Look how they view him now. There were literally Trump Candace Owen 2024 flags and shit where you could actually purchase it. Look at how they view Candace Owens now. It's that easy. If Trump starts attacking that person or that person starts saying something critical about Trump, their days are numbered. Looking in the comments though, and I see tech support says that's a cult. I'm just saying he's a very powerful guy. Why don't you spend all your time giving us solutions to the problems and still whining about the problem? Give us a solution, dude. You have no solutions. Come up with a solution or shut the fuck up, says Frank. Appreciate the input, Frank. Listen, at the end of the day, as a host, I've never came across as a know-it-all. Hell of a lot of you folks provide solutions. I do have some solutions to some of the issues. Now, with Trump, the problems are 1,000-fold. So I give you what I believe might be a decent solution to some of the problems. The other problems, some of you folks provide the solutions as well. One of the solutions for the Trump administration would be tell the fucking truth. If you're going to be on television, being transparent, be honest. Don't say shit that people know you're lying about when you say it. So how about that for a solution? Tell the fucking truth. Let's start there. Because I don't think there's anybody, even the MAGA side of the aisle, that believes Trump is always honest. And it's not because he was taken out of context or people didn't interpret it right. No, he's fucking lying intentionally. He says things that we know, largest inauguration in U.S. history. That's not taken out of context. He's fucking lying. COVID will be gone by April 2021. That's not taken out of context. That's a fucking lie. No medical professional told him COVID would just go away. That's just him making up shit. So how about that for a solution? Tell the goddamn truth. Let me go back to the box. Tap the screen. Thank you for that comment, by the way. This is easily my favorite leftist channel. You're the only one to have an actual conversation. Appreciate that, Brock. Can't read the rest of it, but thank you. and right after your comment, Gear Jammer says, in caps, by the way, Gear Jammer in capital letters says, Trump never lies. Go ask his other wives. The one you can dig up at the golf course. Go ask his other women. Trump never lies. Okay. All right, let me go back to the box. I mean, I like the humor. I don't mind the humor. Hater channel host, says Robert Kennedy. Listen, when I started the program off, tap the screen, get the likes up to 60,000. I'll take the next caller. When I started the channel, I was criticizing the Biden economy so damn much. The liberals were calling me an Uncle Tom and a sellout. Biden's not president anymore. And by the way, at that point, most of my audience was MAGA. Biden's not the current president anymore. Trump is. So if there's going to be a fuck up, it's going to come from Trump's side. I give him credit for securing the border. I gave him credit when the economy was looking like it was going in the right direction. I've given him credit. Right now, I'm not going to make up shit just to make the guy look more favorable. I mean, the guy campaigned on no new wars. I'm not going to, well, he did get a ceasefire. Damn it, he said it wouldn't happen. It wouldn't happen under his watch. So I don't want from no new wars. Well, I'll give him credit for ending it at least. No, I'm not going to make up shit to make him look good, just like I'm not going to make up shit to make him look bad. That's the difference. All right, looking in the comments, I'll give him credit if he deserves it, says Chris. Yeah, if he deserves credit, damn it, he should get it. I get hammered by my liberal viewers all the time for giving credit to Trump, and they in areas where they don't think he should get credit. But I'm not gonna make up things to fix a fuck up. If it's a fuck up, it's a fuck up. Like getting on TV saying you obliterated a facility before it's even daylight. That's a fuck up. You shouldn't have done it. That's just stupid to run on anyway. You can promise what another country is going to do. Yeah. Well, he did run on it, in addition to saying he could end wars in 24 hours and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, that's a fuck up. You don't get, well, other presidents lied. No, he promised to be different. He promised to be, not a typical politician. But then when he fucks up, well, they all do it. You're using the typical politician excuse to defend him. I don't do that here, and I wouldn't do it for Biden either. My wife's boyfriend is a white dude for Kamala Harris, so he is practically a lesbian, but I think he is secretly. What the fuck? My wife's boyfriend is a white dude for Kamala Harris. I don't even know what that means. All right, let me go back to the box. I don't even know what that means. Further great. A white dude for Kamala, so he's a lesbian. Yikes. For the great, good evening.
What's up, Tim? How you doing, man?
You know what I always say. I'm in the trenches over here. Just hanging around like Jesse Jackson at a Klan meeting. So, what do you think? Is the criticism of Trump overboard? You watch the channel enough. I mean, I get folks saying that this is, it's a bunch of TDS. you're a Trump hater. You know, the guy's doing a great job, and you're trying to make him look like shit. What say you?
Nah, man. Yeah, he's getting the criticism that fuels you. I mean, I think he deserves the energy he gives out. When I'm gonna call it the AI ear scratch happened. I came up here and I'm like, how do you give empathy to a man that shows no empathy? We just lost two people, or four possibly could have been a couple weeks ago. Some guy, some crazy MAGA supporter went pew pew some people.
Yeah, that guy. You talking about the guy, the assassin in Minnesota? He was really trying to commit mayhem. I mean, he had a laundry list of people he was trying to take out.
And whether you call it politically correct or he just says what's on his mind, I just don't understand the reason of not even trying not to fan the flames. I mean, he just simply said, I'm not going to call him. Well, whether they was Republican or Democrat, those was two United States citizens, and you don't give a shit because they don't support you.
MAGA defended that. By the way, so for folks who don't know what he's talking about Trump being asked, was he going to call Governor Tim Walz after that, those two House members. One was a senator, one was a state representative after he had been killed in that. And this was within 24 hours, and Trump started talking about how incompetent Tim Walz was, and I think he called him stupid and said he was not going to call him to issue condolences. Because I made a video and I asked, like, even if you are incompetent at the job you do, what the hell does that got to do with if you're in mourning? I mean, he knew these people. So you're mourning the loss of someone, but because you're incompetent at your job, I'm not going to call you? That made no sense at all.
And I mean, like I've heard you say before, he says what he says, and then you get his supporters come up here and defend the shit, and then he comes right behind them and be like, no, I meant what the fuck I said. You know what I mean? And it's like, and he just keeps drawing that line and saying that basically he said, if you're not for me, then fuck you. Well, everybody in this country is not for you, bro. Doesn't mean we don't deserve the same protection from our president.
Well, speaking of suggesting who's for and against Trump, I got a little bit of war on words going on in one of my YouTube streams. I got like 4 cameras. There's comments all over the place. But on my YouTube horizontal side, I got several viewers referring to Trump as daddy. and I believe there was a leader of a country at the NATO summit that referred to Trump as daddy. Now, I see somebody else in the comments is saying that grown men calling Trump daddy. I can't believe it, but people are calling him daddy.
And once again, just like the King shit, I don't know if you've seen it, but my cousin posted it, and he's not a supporter, but he thought this shit was ridiculous. He's like, this fool is nuts. He the Usher Daddy's Home shit.
Yes, I saw that.
What the fuck?
They're calling him daddy.
Fuck, bro, yeah, so he eats the shit right up. So, like I said, man, he fans the flames, and that's always been the issue for me. That's why I've always came on here and told you that $10 gas, $20 gas, it's not worth what you lose by having this guy in office. You want the immigrants out. You want you don't want men wearing skirts and shit. But the cost of it is the civil unrest we have. You know what I mean? These unprovoked wars and shit. But it's all worth it.
Do you think we're going to even have any significant amount of civil unrest now that we know Trump is willing to give the government the ability to use the military or have dudes walking around with masks and long rifles? It's pretty clear that if there is civil unrest, the folks who are protesting Trump are going to be met with lethal force. I mean, he's kind of taking the approach of you normally see that what might happen in Russia or China or some of the dictatorships. If you're protesting him, he's going to end your protest in brutal fashion. So do you think there would even be a protest under him?
Yeah, for the exact same reasons you just said. The difference in these other places was they went and got the pews first.
Yeah.
I mean, hell yeah, it's going to be. You got all these red-blooded Budweiser drinking, 4x4 driving, red-blooded Americans. You got Crips, you got Bloods. That's the melting pot of this country. You throw in a gazillion pews. Yeah.
I hear what you're saying, but when you look at some of these graphic, very aggressive ICE encounters, if America is full of people with pews and they're gonna you would assume they would have done something by now. People showing up and grabbing folks off the street with masks and no identifiers, and they're successfully taking people off the street.
It's a powder keg, Tim. Like I said, to my knowledge, there hasn't been one MLK Boulevard ICE raid. And what I mean by that is, I'm from the fucking city just like you are. Let somebody walk up on me with a fucking mask trying to demand me to do anything.
Yeah, but it ain't one person for the great. It's gonna be. I don't
give a shit.
I mean, so you're telling me seven to eight guys looking like they're dressed to the latest version of Call of Duty, where they got the skeleton mask and shit and long rifles. They surround your car and they got. You gonna get out and fight that shit?
I'ma die. I'm on alive anyway. I mean, what the fuck? Some good's gonna come out of this?
Well,
you know what I mean? Like, what are you gonna come talk to me?
You could be allowed to live. You could be allowed to live in the bottom of a cave somewhere for the rest of your life.
Well, like I said, I rather you might as well pew me there because that ain't living.
Yeah,
that ain't fucking living. You know what I mean? So all it takes is a few people like that, and I'll bet the approach gonna change. You know, people's like, you know, they gotta cover their face. Well, it's tough being an ICE agent. I guess it's tough being a fucking woman that's pregnant in fucking Georgia. Hey, life's fucked up, ain't it?
Damn. You know, I will tell you this.
It is what it is.
I will tell you this. My guess is if you do get a liberal in there or even a more moderate conservative and they start doing investigations after Trump's term, I believe you're going to find out a whole lot of them ICE agents had no legitimate right to ever be an ICE agent. Because some folks even saying that they deputized folks that were there for the January 6th protest. But I bet you some of them folks have a history that shows they should never have been allowed to do law enforcement work. And because they're wearing masks, you won't know. But yeah, I believe that once Trump is gone, if they look into that, you're going to probably find some very bad actors that were allowed to participate in that.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, at the time, you know, I was thinking, I know we talked about on this show, what kind of more, guaranteed immunity does a president need? And I think now we see why, because I feel bad for everyone around him because I don't think it covers them. I think he's going to be covered. Yeah. But yeah, I think it's very clear now why he needed that. I mean, you know, you talked about the people being unalived in DHS custody already under these raids and shit. But I'm not a lawyer, but I would assume they got some kind of right to, you know, get some kind of comeuppance because, hey, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be unalive. So
Good point. Now, in regards to you talking about you'd fight as opposed to spending out the rest of your life comfortably at the bottom of a cave, Mulchman in the comments says, caller is full of it. It's easy to talk that shit when you're on a phone and ain't looking down the barrel of a long gun. Kind of like Dr. Dre's, it's easy to talk shit with you know, you can't talk with a gun in your mouth. So how do you respond to that? He's saying that you're full of it.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I hear you. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, everybody got a plan until they get hit in the mouth. But, you know, I ain't here to, you know, tout my past or whatever the fuck else. But, hey, man, I've been up against it more than a few times. About a month ago today, I'm sitting in my fucking living room, kid playing with a pew-pew across the street, comes right over the top of my head through my window.
Damn.
So, I mean,
damn.
Yeah, so I mean, so, you know, I'm sure you out there getting fucking cow shit and, you know, playing with sheep and shit, boy. So you don't understand it. You know what I mean?
All right. I'll
we the
leave
shit
it
you see on TV, we live it every day, bro.
Yeah. Now, I see in the comments, Kimmy says that he'll pardon everyone going out the door. That could happen, but one way to get around that is the state charges of things. So if, let's say, for instance, you can prove that an ICE agent, you know, if you're beating up people, I mean, that's a state charge. So you can pardon them for the crimes they may have committed federally, but if you're doing, because he's doing a lot of stuff in liberal cities, you know, going to California, or he's in Chicago or New York. If they're doing heavy-handed tactics and violating people's rights or harming folks, because I believe I've heard earlier today, so far this year, 10 people have died in ICE custody. And if they're acknowledging 10, it's probably more that they've attributed to some other excuse not to take accountability. But some of that stuff would be state charges. Trump can't pardon all of that. You beating the shit out of somebody that don't deserve to be beaten, that's not a federal charge. That's a state charge. So you could get around some of that.
but these supporters are WWJD people. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't make fucking sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we love our Bible, but do what the fuck you got to do to those other humans to get them the fuck out of here. I mean, like I said, man, I'm not very spiritual, but I do believe in fucking karma. So hey, I'm just saying, if it's them today, it's you tomorrow. It's usually how the fucking shit goes.
So what is your? Now we just speculating here because we don't know, but what is? I mean, we're only 1.5 year in. Trump has 3.5 years to go. Where are we headed?
The trajectory is not good.
I mean, literally, we're talking. So we're talking. He has 6 times as long to be in office than he's already been in right now. If he's able to accomplish this much in a half a year, I mean, wow! Just imagine how much he can accomplish in the next 3.5 years.
Yeah, that's why, I don't think it's too far-fetched. I probably would have before this man, when people, this is the end of this, the end of that. He seems like he's pretty sure he's trying to end a lot of the fucking norms that this country has had. And, people talk about DEI and all this shit. I tell you, you go into an office and they say get rid of all the DEI people in the office, and there's 6 white males, and, you throw in everybody else. Who the fucking safest people in that room?
The white males.
Okay, so let's talk about immigration. We're going to crack down on immigration and clean up our streets. Who the fuck is safest people?
The white males.
Exactly.
Am I hearing a pattern?
I think so. You're a smart guy. Come on, Tim. I would love you to devil advocate that shit because it is what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying. So
I will say this because they were suggesting that Biden's vote for me or you ain't black and how he was racist and Trump gave money to HBCUs. You notice when you hear the right defending Trump, there is not much to bring up that he's done for people of color this time. I mean, if you're going to defend Trump as not being anti-people of color, you're going to be mentioning stuff from his first term. There's nothing there for his second term.
No, and it wasn't going to be. Hey, Joe, I came on this show and said he wasn't out of line. Could he probably said it better? Yeah, probably. But I like the way he said it because it made fucking sense to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And in my humble opinion, what 2 old white men from that era wouldn't know each other better than those 2 guys.
Well, vote for me or you ain't black. I suppose you could probably go talk to a hell of a lot of immigrants and their families and say, does it sound clearer now?
Exactly.
Yeah, it makes a lot more sense now.
Exactly. And I mean, and I've been following your show, man, for a while. I've been on here 3, maybe going on 4 years. And MAGA reacts. And you be honest. Because I've seen this guy's transformation to get deeper and deeper and deeper in this fucking cult. When he first came on, he seemed to be willing to learn down the middle, whatever. And day by day, he's DJ Julio and Gen X, baby. Their little spawn. He just dug deeper and deeper in. And I'm like, bro, it used to be so much common sense. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. It's just an honest observation, though.
Trump has a lot of power. I mean, like I said, I know after going to a couple of Trump rallies myself, the dude is charming, man. He knows how to talk to people. I mean, like I said, I didn't get to talk to him, but he pointed at me and winked when I was standing and applauding something he said, and I felt it. I mean, that guy knows how to reach people, and I don't agree with much of anything he says. I just wanted to see and feel what the energy was like to be at a Trump rally. And when I was pretty close. I was only about 4 or 5 rows back. He saw me stand clapping. Something he was talking about with John Deere or something that made sense to me. So I stood and applauded, and he pointed at me and winked. I felt that. So, I mean, the guy's a charming individual.
So you felt it, right?
I felt that.
We both came. Okay, so you came up in a church, right? As a young man and all that, right?
Yes.
Have you ever been to one of them churches where they got the nurse aides and stuff in the aisle? Because once they get to catching the spirit, they fall in.
You had to put a towel over them like James Brown. Yes, I have been to that.
So like I said, he's a very powerful man. But people are liking him to a lot of people, but I call him Creflo Dollar. You know what I mean? Bishop Eddie Long. I mean, he can sell you some good shit, buy a Cadillac. You know, the church, you know, let me poke a hole in the roof. Hey, it's leaking on me today. You know, the church, we need money. You know what I'm saying? We got to fix this roof. Hey, you lost a job. You know, you Taco Bell full of people that don't look like you.
He's a great,
do something about that.
He's a great speaker in terms of getting, I mean, not in terms of what's coming out of his mouth, but the effect. Even though some of the stuff he says sounds wild and crazy, it has a really strong effect on the listeners. I mean, he's a great salesperson. He could literally sell ice to to Eskimos. I mean, he's really good at it. I don't know how to explain it, but I mean, people will buy. He could tell you this product is the best ever, and you wouldn't know it ain't the best ever, and people will still buy it. I mean, he's that good.
Yeah, he's about 30% good. I mean, that's about his base. Like I said, it works on them. But like I said, like I just explained to you, I listen to what you say and what you do, and I'm like, I'm not buying this shit, bro. You know what I mean? But that's just me. You know, I'm a born skeptic. I'm an African-American man in the United States. So for some of us, it takes more than just some bullshit you're telling us, because that's kind of what we've always heard.
Damn right. I got to move it on further, great. Well said. Thanks for coming through.
Hey, tap the screen, get my man up, and never report this man. The best show down there on TikTok.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Tap the screen. He is right. Thank you for the great. Tap the screen. Get us on up to about 80,000. A lot of lazy thumbs in here. We should have been easily at 70, 80,000 by now. Tap the screen. Show some support. But since I can't make a proper argument for you, what does it say here? Since I can't make a proper argument for you, why should you put your family at risk to do that? Degree. I don't know what that you guys are speaking amongst each other. They want to run a clip by now. This is my first time hearing this as well, but it goes along with what we're discussing. This is Trump at the NATO summit the other day in regards to the damage that Iran sustained or did not sustain.
You talked about expecting some on-the-ground assessments at Fordo and other sites.
Now,
is that Israeli and U.S.?
It's been obliterated, Kelly. It's been
What is your message then, sir, to the intelligence community when they present reports? You're not disputing the DIA report. You're just...
They presented a report that wasn't finished. We're talking about something that took place 3 days ago.
I understand that, sir.
The report was done
so
3 days ago. Wait a minute.
Yes.
They didn't see it. All they can do is take a guess. Now, if you take a look at the pictures, if you take a look how it's all blackened, you know the fire and brimstone is all underground because it's granite and it's all underground. You don't show it. But even there, with all of that being said, the whole area for 75 yards around the hole where it is black with fire. The group that's run by this gentleman, in fact, you may want to talk about it for a second because we're going to issue a report. And I think it's not even a very exciting report at this point. It's been obliterated, totally obliterated. And they did a report, but it was like, if you look at the dates, it's just a few days after it happened.
Sir.
So they didn't see it. They said it may be very severe.
Understood. Do you have a message for the intelligence community, though, in terms of unvarnished information getting to you, that it's not...
I don't really have a message. I would say issue the report when you know what happened. I wouldn't say that it could be severe or maybe not. They use the word severe. It could be severe or maybe it's not.
And
so people like you picked up and said, oh, it's not severe.
We're just
no,
looking for
the report was not a complete report. Yeah, the message was probably wait till you know the answer before you...
We thank you for watching.
If you don't know if the report isn't complete, then why are you saying it's obliterated? I don't know. Look at the comments. That wasn't what I thought they were going to say. It was. I was looking for something else, but that is interesting. If you don't know if the report isn't complete, then you probably have no right to be on TV saying it was obliterated either. Shouldn't he stay with his own advice? Yeah, that's what I'm saying too, King Finn. He should. Not a complete report and wait for an answer, but it's obliterated. That's exactly the point I'm making as well, Zach Built, is that you're admitting the report isn't complete, but you're telling people it's obliterated. You're kind of literally coinciding with what, you're basically speaking from both sides of your mouth by even saying that. Trump's brain is obliterated. Oh my God. I see the comments. Freedom Fighter says Trump is full of shit. You don't know, pass it to the next prison or person. All right. Trump derangement syndrome is people believing the crap that comes out of his mouth and him talking in circles and the word salad he does. Wow. That's an interesting definition of Trump derangement syndrome. Get your boy on up to 70, at least 70. I'll take the next call at 70. You lazy thumbs in here. By the way, this is uncensored programming. That's how we run this. We are indeed MAGA friendly. But you're going to hear opinions that cover the spectrum because we take callers left of Bernie Sanders to I'm having a with Q. Uncensored programming means you can say any damn thing you want, even about the host or other folks in the comments. If the apps let you speak, we do let you speak. I think, there's a few things here or there if you go way too overboard, just using the N-word for the sake of using it, stuff like that. But for the most part, we do run an uncensored program. Keep it political. How about that? You keep it political, we can make it work. Start getting into the personal attacks and shit like that. That's when you trigger the censors. But if you enjoy uncensored dialogue from all sides of the aisle, you're in the right place. Feel free to follow the program if you happen to be watching on TikTok. If you're watching us currently on Clapper, because we're on Clapper now. Thank you. Love your stream, says I think that says Rebel Tenius. I can't read it, but thank you for tuning in as well. And if you happen to be watching live on YouTube, same thing. Give your boy a subscription. We're across all platforms. The Handsome Liberal is the name on all of the platforms. Occasionally we're on Instagram Live as well. So follow any of those. If you're on TikTok, Instagram, or Clapper, you can actually call in and be one of the callers. MAGA should be the first in line to go to war in Iran. Let them send their kids. Now, there's a bunch of social media posts. They're AI, but they show folks in war zones, men in war zones that are frightened and don't want to fight, and they're wearing MAGA hats. Are any of you folks seeing those? They're posting them out there. Just like right after Trump's tariffs, they were posting AI videos of people working in sweatshops, using their fingers to make, shoes and do all the same shit the Chinese did. And they're wearing MAGA hats, trying to illustrate that MAGA is going to keep on to the point where they're going to have to do all of this shit. They're getting rid of people that actually normally used to do it. So you may have seen some of this stuff on social media. I see in the comments, Freedom says, I saw it. Donald did say he would never start another war, and look, he started another war even without congressional approval. The congressional approval thing, while it is true, is not going to go very far because so many folks on the left have started conflicts and things like that without congressional approval as well. I think the bigger sticking point is he lied during the campaign and said he wasn't going to do it. But if you bring up Trump starting a war or having a conflict without getting congressional approval, you're just going to get a whole bunch of whataboutisms, whether it's Obama or Bush or Biden that bombed something and they didn't get congressional approval for it. So you're going to get a bunch of whataboutisms. But there is no whataboutism for the fact that Trump campaigned on all these wars would not have started and is going to get us out of forever wars. He campaigned on not doing that. So there is no whataboutism for that. Looking at the comments, Trump likes to do a little trolling on liberals. Yeah, he likes to do a lot of trolling on liberals. He just doesn't like being trolled on. And neither does MAGA. Trump can talk about the liberals at a press conference for 3 straight hours. The minute a liberal talks about Trump, it's Trump derangement syndrome. Every time you put a microphone in front of Trump's mouth, he talks about Joe Biden. You'll never hear MAGA suggest that he has Biden derangement syndrome. And I'm talking about Biden in ways that is completely irrelevant. I often bring up the example, tap the screen, get the likes up to 75,000, we'll take the next caller. I often bring up Trump trying to sell Teslas when he was still on good terms with Elon on the White House property, where he gets inside of a Tesla and the first thing he says is, I bet you Biden couldn't get in here. And it got shit to do with Biden. Why is Biden's name coming up? But you'll never hear MAGA suggest that Trump has Biden derangement syndrome, even though Trump literally fits the definition of what they refer to as derangement syndrome. He literally fits the definition of it. You cannot put a microphone in front of Trump's face without Biden's name coming up. Even at the NATO summit, as I brought up. Even when he's describing what happened in Iran, he's bringing up, well, Biden did this, or Biden let that happen, or Biden couldn't do this like I did. He's still doing it. Every time you put a microphone in front of his face, he literally is doing what Trump's supporters would define as derangement syndrome. But they don't want to say he has it, so they don't say anything. 95% of the corporate media is anti-Trump articles. If that's not TDS, I don't know what is. So 95% of the conservative media is anti-liberal. Is that the same? Is that TDS? Is derangement syndrome only something that can apply to those who don't like Trump? You can hate liberals for whatever reason. It'll never be derangement syndrome. Then your definition of derangement syndrome is fucking biased. It's fucking biased. I mean, Trump talked about and criticized John McCain for 2 years after the guy was dead. Is that not derangement syndrome? I don't know what it is then. Looking in the comments, Trump does something dumb. Media reports on it. And I'll just say this in regards to the media not liking Trump. If you can watch Trump interact with the media, tell reporters how they have fake news and suggest that their questions are dumb questions, but you don't understand why the media doesn't like him, you're biased. If you can watch him treat media personalities the way he does in person, but you don't understand why their networks don't like him, you're fucking biased. You're laughing at the way he's treating people, but then being critical when they don't like him. You're biased. You didn't see Biden, Obama, Bush, Reagan. None of them treat reporters like Trump does. Oh, they got derangement syndrome. He's saying awful shit about, in some cases, some of these folks are damn near interns. Some of these folks ain't even been around that long. And your network sucks. Fake news. Look at me making jokes about the people and all of that. You're okay 100% with that. But the minute the network says something back about him, well, they got derangement syndrome. You're fucking biased. That's all it is. You're fucking biased. He can talk about them, but you don't want them to talk about him. That's about as biased as it comes. It's not like the media is sitting around criticizing Trump, and Trump is just a good guy not saying anything back, and they're just bashing him and beating him for no reason at all. There's not a media outlet out there that Trump is not criticizing. You're okay with that. But when they say something about him back, well, you got Trump derangement syndrome. That's bias. That's about as biased as you can come. Looking in the comments, media is not telling you the truth. Understand the agenda. Well, here's the problem with that. I think this says Melissa. And thank you for the input, Melissa. When you say the media is not telling the truth, this is why I keep using the term fucking bias. Do you not realize Truth Social that Trump owns, millions of followers? That's media. That actually is media. When Trump gets on Truth Social and says something that's dishonest, whether you realize it or not, the media is lying to you at that point. You're only noticing the lies when they come from media you've been told not to like. Media that you favor, OAN, Newsmax, Fox, they lie to you too. You think everything you see on InfoWars is the truth? You didn't see all that QAnon shit over the last 5 years? You think all this stuff was fact? You think they were going to arrest Biden and put Trump in as the 17th president of the corporation? You believe that? That was coming from the media. So you're picking and choosing what media you want to hold accountable for lying, and you're continuing to enjoy the media that's telling you lies. Tucker Carlson, part of the $787 million lawsuit that they had to pay for lying at Fox. He has millions of followers, mostly MAGA, all over social media. If you're going to tell me MSNBC lies, but you don't believe that about Tucker Carlson, you're fucking biased. Just want to make sure you understand that. I mentioned this earlier in the live. You can criticize CNN, you can criticize MSNBC, but you ignore the fact that not only did Fox get caught in lying and have to pay nearly $750 million, many of the people that were lying to you now work in the Trump administration. The same people that were part of the lies are now in the Trump administration. Judge Jeanine Pirro, for instance, she's now part of the administration. Do you see any lies in that? Or are you okay with that? Lies are okay as long as you're lying in my favor. That's what I'm hearing. Anyway, looking in the comments though, continuing on. Did we get to 7? Oh, we got up there. Okay, fair enough. Gen X, good evening. Welcome to the program. Fox News getting sued for the second time for lying. That is by Gavin Newsom. $787 million he's suing them for. Gavin Newsom is suing Fox News. That is true. Gen X, good evening.
Tim, how the hell you gonna thank Cal for giving you a galaxy earlier? Because you sit there fluffing with MAGA rats. Boy, you been dropped on your head.
Now you...
I was your woman, I would slap the shit out you. Cal, thank you, baby. Thanks, your grandma loves you, and I need me a husband.
Now, you're imitating, obviously, gangster grandma. But I'm going to say this because you are Gen X just like I am. Have you ever heard of a DJ called Wolfman Jack?
Oh, yeah, I remember Wolfman
That's
Jack.
Who you sound like. That's who you sound like. You gotta be at least Gen X to even know who we're talking about, but that's who you actually sound like when you did that. So we're talking about the idea that Trump has removed a temporary protected status from as many as 500,000 Haitian migrants who are not rapists and murderers, did not enter the country illegally. They're not part of Trinidad Agua or MS-13. They have jobs. They're not on welfare. Do you think he did the right thing by sending them back to Haiti?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Now, go ahead.
I do.
Now he's suggesting he's doing it because the conditions in Haiti have improved enough for their citizens to come back home. Have you heard anything about Haiti becoming more civilized?
I have not, but I don't take that into the equation. That's not our problem. Now, I equate that with the same thing, and I expressed this to you before. The white folks in South Africa having a problem. I don't think we should just indiscriminately take them either, because it's not our problem.
So then how does it look, if you're going to say it's not our problem, how does it look that the Trump administration is sending the Haitians back to an environment that they claim was too unsafe for the white South Africans to exist in? And by the way, South Africa's in far better shape than Haiti.
We've got 14 million American children that go to bed hungry every night. 1.6 million of them are homeless. You can get these stats on the Department of Education. Until we clean our own house, whatever's happening outside of our borders just isn't our problem.
Yeah, but Gen X, you know there's no desire to clean our own house. The minute you talk about cleaning your own house, they're going to scream socialism. I mean, Trump ran on a campaign of bringing money from, no longer sending money overseas. We're not going to send money to the Ukraine. We're going to take care of Americans first. And the minute he got in office, he stopped sending money overseas, kicked all the immigrants out that were supposed to be, a louse on the system. And I haven't heard him doing a damn thing for the people in this country. I mean, we even fired a bunch of federal workers. So have you heard him talking about helping out the homeless? Even the vets are complaining they're not being helped.
No, I haven't, and I disagree with that. I think that we should help our own first. I think America should be for Americans before we're for anybody else. No problem helping other people at all, but let's take care of our own shit first. And if they don't do it, then I don't agree with that. I'm on the same page with you on that. I think we should help people that have it a little harder than everybody else. Let's help them out if they're Americans.
Well, like I said, when you look at the Trump administration, I'm not hearing that. I mean, everything from student loan forgiveness, even the people who go to work every day, who's just wanting a minimum wage increase, people who are going to work every day. He's not even in favor of doing that. So I'm just not hearing. We've brought the money home. We're not giving it to the Ukraine no more. We're getting immigrants out, so they're not on the system. And I'm not hearing him bragging or talking about helping out Americans. It's just not even being part of his agenda.
And I agree, and I think it should be part of the conversation, 100%.
So
100%, I agree with that.
So if it's not,
and Andy, I know you're watching, and you want to come up and say how ugly I am. Ugly or not, you can still make me a sandwich.
You and this women making sandwiches thing. All right, now you do realize there are a host of women that believe that the Republicans are trying to turn us into a rendition of The Handmaid's Tale. I don't know if you're familiar with what The Handmaid's Tale is, But it's essentially.
Yeah, I've watched it.
Yeah.
I've watched it.
So when you start talking about making sandwiches, and you do believe that women shouldn't have the right to vote, you said that in our previous conversations. How do you dispel that theory that you're not trying to take us back to that era?
I don't think we need to go back to that era, but I think we need to go back to a different era where women don't have such big mouths, they're so independent, they're such feminists. Women need to be home. They need to be home caring for our families. They need to be homemakers.
Not independent, huh?
Nope.
Why don't you want women to be independent? Why don't you want them to have their independence?
Because I think women need to be part of the family unit to raise good children. I think the family unit in America is very, very, very strong. I think Western civilization during the 40s and 50s did really well when the women were homemakers, when they were home, when they were doing what they're supposed to do as God intended them to do.
Yeah, but what about the notion, okay, if a woman marries a guy and he turns out to be a piece of shit, if she's not independent, she's essentially fucked, right?
No, she can go out and find a better man.
How does she survive in between men? She's not independent.
Because she's got a moneymaker that you and I don't have, Tim.
Oh my God! Oh my God! Jesus Christ! So I don't even know how to frame this. Oh my God!
Hey Tim, I love that shirt, bro.
Oh my!
I love that shirt.
Fuck
you should put a Proud Boy logo on that yellow shirt.
Okay, you compare. Okay,
yeah, I said that. I don't take it back.
Okay. I get my shirt as the colors of the Proud Boys. I get that you're but you're actually suggesting that in between men, she sell ass to survive.
No. You suggested that. I never suggested that.
What is a moneymaker?
What I suggested was that she has a moneymaker.
What is that?
We don't have.
What is the moneymaker?
She can go out and meet a nice guy because she has something we don't have.
Which is what?
Something that all men want and are willing to pay for. Not physically pay for, but pay for in the way, in the sense of having a woman.
How are you not saying what I just said? You're basically telling her between relationships she should prostitute herself.
I'm doing good, Queen Bee. Thank you. I'm sorry, what was that?
You're basically saying in between relationships she should use prostitution as a means of survival.
No, I'm saying that she should use what the good Lord gave her to get herself another man.
You are saying the same thing I'm saying.
Big difference.
Okay, explain when you say use what the good Lord gave her to get another man. Explain what that means. Elaborate on that.
Her charm, her physical appearance, her ability to attract men. Look, us men are fucking stupid. We're dumb as rocks. A woman only has to do 3 things to keep us around. Feed us, fuck us, and be nice to us. And we'll move mountains for her. It's that simple.
And what if the woman just wants to be single? What if a woman doesn't want to be in a relationship? Should she have that option?
Then let her be single. Yeah, then let her be single.
But how is she going to survive if she's not independent, as you say?
Well, then she should get independent real fast.
How?
Get a job, maybe.
Okay, so you're okay with women working. You don't believe there's some jobs that should be off limits to women?
No, yes, I do think there's some jobs that should be off limits to women, like combat military, firefighters, police officers. Those, yes. But generally speaking, women are very good in business. They make decent business decisions. I think women they started more business in last year than they have in history, which I think is great.
No women on the police force?
No.
Construction?
If she wants to try to do construction, that's fine, because somebody else's life is on the line. But I know no 130-pound woman is going to drag my fat ass out of a burning building.
You lit my audience up. I got people that are saying you're a chauvinist. People saying you should never be a father. They're saying you pay for pussy. I mean, my audience is going ape shit that you. You literally lit up all of my screens with some of your comments.
I am a chauvinist, but I'm a Western chauvinist.
What's the difference?
We believe that the West is the best, and Western culture is what we should all strive for and be a part of. We should honor and love Western culture instead of trying to get all this other shit involved.
You're talking about Western culture, but you're describing a position for women that sound more like Afghanistan. I'm not hearing Western now because you don't believe women should vote. For folks who have not heard you speak before, you and I have talked. We go back, but elaborate on why you don't believe America is served well by allowing women to vote.
Okay, I'll gladly do that because women make decisions based on emotions instead of objective data.
And you don't think your president does that?
We base our logic on facts. Women don't do that. When emotions come into play, man, there's a lot of men that aren't really men. They're these soy boy people that when their women are hardcore blue-haired liberals, they'll vote even if they don't agree with it. They'll vote the way their woman wants to because if they don't, she'll cut them off. You ain't getting no pussy for 3 weeks, motherfucker.
I gotta say, as funny as what you're saying is sounding, you literally are describing the participants on January 6th. They acted on emotion. They didn't have any facts. All of the stuff you said could apply to how they responded on January 6th. They didn't want to get cut off and all. I mean, all of that applies. And those are all men. Or the majority of them, plus or minus and Ashley Babbitt. But most of them were men.
Chris says he's done with me. Chris, I was never with you in the first way, man. Go back, have your Mad Dog 2020 and enjoy it, bruh. You came on his show and didn't make a fucking lick of sense. Talking about World War II, soldiers were cowards. Fuck you from every fucking veteran. I'm including myself, I never served. But fuck you, dude, for disrespecting our troops like that. And I got some other words I want to use, but I won't on your show out of respect for your show. Tim, and an early happy birthday. I hope I can buy you another steak dinner this year, my friend.
No shit. Thank you. Yeah, thank you for
happy
that.
Birthday.
I do thank you for that support. Yeah, you were very kind last year. I do appreciate that. Thank you. I will move it on. Gen X, you know you're always welcome on the program, despite us not agreeing on your treatment of women. But come on back anytime, man. Maybe you should get a guy to make you a sandwich. Would you be okay with a sandwich coming from a guy?
I don't know. You have to ask me again on that one. It depends. If he's got blue hair, wearing a dress and a beard, probably not.
Oh my God. Gen X, always a pleasure.
Love you, brother.
Same. Good talk. All right, moving on with the program. So Trump's disrespecting soldiers is okay, but not anyone else. Well, Trump denies he disrespected any soldiers. Trump disrespects your troops. You don't have a problem with that shit. All right. So anyway, folks, I do appreciate the 85,000 in terms of the likes. Thank you for nevertheless. Oh, excuse me. Wow, that was not good. I agreed with some of your BS, but not all, says Chris. All right. He definitely wouldn't mind a bromance. All right. What was the guy's name? Was it Andrew Tate? You know, true hardcore alpha male? Because there are, and understand, folks, some of you folks are very critical of what my last guest said, but there are women that agree with him. That they generally do lean right. I've had women on the program that have stated they do accept the hierarchy. God, man, woman, child. I've had plenty of right-wing, or not plenty, but I've had a few right-wing women on the program that admit they see the world more favorably the way my last caller suggested. Keep in mind, while what he is saying sounds awful by modern day standards, and I can understand why anybody would be critical of what he's saying, but understand that during that era, if you did have a reliable partner, and I'm not agreeing with what he said, but I'm saying that if you did have a reliable spouse, you got up, clean house, and things like that. You didn't, as a woman, you got up, clean house, whatever the hell you did around the home. You didn't have to go out and drive to work in the snow or deal with piece of shit asshole bosses. I mean, listen, There's a lot of men in modern day society that would love to take that role as a homemaker, compared to going to work and punching the clock for somebody who don't give a shit about you, is underpaying you. I mean, does not appreciate you. As opposed to staying home all day and putting a few dishwashers, dishes in the dishwasher and folding up a few clothes. There are some people that actually will do that. I mean, men. There are men homemakers. Like I said, that you got to make sure you got a decent spouse, though. Otherwise, you could be fucked if the relationship ends. Your last guest should come hang out on the East Coast. His perception of women would surely change. Also, I've been taught you attract what you are, says Husky Mom. Wow. Love that name, Husky Mom. Shout out to you. Just like the Islamic coach. Yeah, that something. That's why I told him. He said just like the Islamic coach. That's what I told him. I said you sound kind of like you're patterning things after the Afghanistan, the folks in Afghan, how they treat women, or even Iran and places like that. And I think what people fail to realize, while we often brag about how free America is compared to some of those countries, is if we do go further to the right, we will start mimicking, and speaking negatively of, because we are starting to head more down the path of a religious-based society. You see Ted Cruz on television talking about we should support Israel because it's in the Bible. The further, if you go down the path of Christianity and you start operating in America like this is a Christian-based country, it's going to mirror a lot of the shit you see in the Middle East. I mean, that's just the way it is. You don't ever think that it won't. I mean, when you go back in time in this country, when we were far more religious than we are now, you'll notice there's a lot of similarities to the stuff we complain about that they're doing in the Middle East. Women did not have many freedoms at all. Couldn't open up a checking account, things like that. Well, that's what they're doing now. Okay, the woman didn't have to necessarily put on a full covering where you couldn't see her face. But if she was outside with a little bit of skin on, things like that, people did look at her funny. I mean, she had to really. You go back and look at some of the videos, if they're available, or the photos of how American women were dressed back in the 30s and before that. They were pretty fucking covered up. So if you go down the road of Christianity, it's gonna look very similar to what they're doing in the Middle East, where you got a male-dominated society, women have virtually no rights, all of that. We used to do that here. Don't ever believe it can't happen again. Hell, women go out looking like they just woke up. Well, yeah, but they have a choice now. They have a choice. They didn't have a choice back then. Whereas your husband damn near had the right to beat your ass if he didn't like what you were doing with no recourse. Didn't have a choice. You could literally have your spouse committed to a mental institution for talking back to you in America. And I believe that existed even in our lifetime, if you're old enough. If you as a female was talking back to your husband, talking shit, he could have you committed to a fucking mental institution. In America, that could happen. So, and that ain't been, 100, 150 years ago. That stuff happened during the era of color TVs. So don't ever think that we can't go back down that path again. Certainly when you're in Gen X, what he is saying, he's not alone in that. And keep in mind, despite talking about possibly sending women to prison for homicide, for making pro-choice decisions, Trump won the women's vote. So he was speaking about doing things that are not that far down the road, but you knew with Trump, you're getting more of a Christian-based society, putting Christianity in schools, and, any woman that is trying to maybe investigate, maybe a little bit curious with her sexuality. The Trump administration, you knew before you voted for him, he was not for anything other than heterosexuals. So he's already indicating we were going in that direction, and yet he won the women's vote handedly. So there are plenty of women that are okay with what Gen X just said on my last call. There are women that are okay with that. Looking in the comments, though, Trump roamed the wild streets of Queens thinking this will be, he went to New York and it didn't go well, if I'm correct. If there was a time machine and men from 40 years ago came to 2025, they would stroke out. That would probably happen in any country though, because most countries have a history of being male dominated. And we've evolved in a lot of countries, particularly in the West, where women have gotten more freedoms. When I lived in Australia, I moved there back in the early 2000s, and a lot of the women still had that mentality. They were not as free, mentally at least, as women here are. They were not. I mean, it was different. I mean, there still was stuff like that. I mean, I remember being in the club, and some chick, I was, trying to holler at her, and she whispered in my ear, "I got a kid. Is that okay?" I'm like, shit, we bang kids, chicks with kids all the time. I'm not trying to marry you. That meant something over there. So anyway, I do appreciate the 88,000 likes. I might have to step away. You think we have evolved? I think we have destroyed the family unit. Yeah, you're going to destroy the family unit because you're giving people freedom. Everybody doesn't want to be part of the family unit. Whereas if you're focusing on the family unit, what happens is you start having women being told, you're 30 years old and you ain't got married yet. When you going to have some kids? You're starting to ostracize people that don't want to be part of that. Some women don't want to have kids. You got folks like the Jennifer Aniston types that have a lucrative career and they don't want children to get in the way of it. Like right now, I watch WNBA, for instance. Some of you folks know who Caitlin Clark is, the star basketball player. A child right now would be a detriment to her career. She probably don't want to have kids, specifically because she's climbing in her career. It would be a whole season she would not be able to play. But if you're trying to focus on the family unit, like what Gen X said, women need to be at home taking care of kids. So they don't get the option of focusing on a career because we're making them do what we want them to do. We want to be out enjoying our career, but we want them to be home bearing the children and not giving them an option to choose otherwise. So I just will say that the family unit, just like anything, if you give people freedom, it ain't gonna always go the way you planned. I mean, you give everybody guns, innocent people are gonna get shot. That's just part of it. You give folks freedom, you give women freedom to choose. Some of them ain't gonna want to have kids. I mean, you do realize people can die in childbirth and all of that kind of shit. It changes their bodies. Every woman don't want to go through that, and they should have the right to make that choice or not. But slowly but surely, it looks like we're kind of attempting to take that right away from them. Anyhow, appreciate the Tim. This isn't 1950s. Times have changed. Chris, you're right, but some folks would rather go back to that time because America was apparently great then. It's your boy, the handsome liberal. As always, thanks for the likes. I will catch you guys tomorrow. If you enjoy this type of dialogue, follow the program if you're watching on Instagram. If you're watching on Clapper, give your guy a sub if you're watching YouTube, because we're here Monday through Friday. We're all about free speech. Catch you later. Make sure I